I bet those glasses make you see better.
Just like, it's yucky.
Yeah. But I was kind of thinking, why is there an ick factor? So when I think
there's an ick factor for some people, and then there's not an ick factor for other. Well, and by the way, there doesn't seem to be much of an ick factor with men at all. It seems like the ick factor is with specifically left-wing women.
So my point, though, is that it is a lot of women. And I think when I think back in history, when I think back in history, and you think of, there's a lot of examples in history of older men marrying very young women.
Yep.
And I can see the arguments for why they would do this. But now we have women's voices that we didn't really have in history. And now that women are speaking up, they are expressing that this is wrong, this is immoral. So why are they doing this?
Well,
so the difference.
Well, hang on. Let's back up real quick, and then I'll let you continue. I promise. I just want to clarify something. I actually don't ever hear them say it's immoral. I've never actually heard any of these feminists claim. Well, I mean, I've heard them claim it's immoral, but then I ask them what's immoral about it, and they say nothing. So so I would have to dispute that.
Something's wrong. They think something's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I can grant that they think something is wrong about it or not correct about it, or they intuitively don't like it, or it gives them the ick, but never actually heard them give an argument for the morality of it.
So I was thinking, what is the factor in the age gap relationship? And mostly it is experience, life experience. There's the older person who has more life experience than the younger person. And I'm particularly zooming in on the really young. It doesn't have to be a big gap, but when the younger person is younger than 25, there's not a lot of life experience. And I think that's what we're responding to, the wisdom of someone's getting manipulated because one person has more life experience than the other.
Yeah, but that's going to be the case in every relationship.
But you definitely have more life experience if you've lived longer.
Yeah, but I mean, so what? That doesn't... So you could agree with me, for instance, that a 22-year-old man could feasibly marry a 35-year-old woman, and the 22-year-old man has more life experience than the 35-year-old woman does.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean,
and I'm saying
so if that's the case,
just...
hang on, and then I'll turn the floor back over. I promise. So if we can agree that that is true, right, then this argument really is kind of nonsensical from my purview, because we would be arguing that any time one person has more life experience than another, that means that somehow the relationship itself is immoral, and clearly we couldn't make that case, right?
Well, I'm kind of saying that there's a manipulation factor, because someone knows more than the other person because they have more knowledge, because they've lived longer, basically from living longer.
Well, would you agree? Would you agree with me? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. The
bigger the age gap, the more manipulative it is.
Yeah, so when you make the declaration, so I'm going to reject a couple things. Reject this declaration. So I think you would agree with me that manipulations in relationships are wrong. Yes. Regardless of age, right?
Yes.
Okay, so why is it assumed, even though in most relationships somebody manipulates the other to some degree? I mean, that's every relationship on planet Earth, I would say. There's some forms of manipulation. Maybe there's a few where there's just none, but I think there's manipulation in most. My kind of argument back here is that what your problem would be is not with the age gap, but with manipulation. And you would say manipulation would be wrong even if they were the same age, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So then I don't understand what the age itself has to do with it. So if you were to feasibly have a man who was 50 who was married to a woman who's 25 and he's not manipulating her, what's the objection?
Well, I was thinking about Anna Nicole Smith.
Mm-hmm. The gold digger.
Yes, and manipulation happening on
She was
maybe both
manipulating
sides.
him. She was manipulating
Yeah,
him.
I agree. And when I think of like, doesn't Jane Fonda date way younger?
Men.
And
yeah.
you think she's manipulating that young, pool boy that she's dating?
No, I don't think so.
And
I think he wants to fuck her, so he does. That's what I think. I don't think it takes much manipulation. She just takes her clothes off and he's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I guess my brain goes to, well, are we talking about just having sex, or are we talking about relationships?
Yeah, but even in a relationship,
marriage?
yeah, I mean, regardless, even in a relationship. So if you and I agree that manipulation can happen and does happen regardless of the age, if I were to present a relationship to you of a 50-year-old man with a 25-year-old woman and he is not manipulating her, what is the objection?
So I guess I'm speaking to the ick factor. Like,
So you just think it's yucky?
Well, what I'm giving validation to the ick factor and why we experience it when we look at these relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I don't think we
like,
collectively
when you think
do.
of a-
I don't think
when
we
you think of
collectively
a-
do, but
Well, when you think of like a 30-year-old with a 15-year-old.
okay, now hang on. Now you're
I know
you're
you're I know what you're
greatly
gonna say.
moving the goalposts now
But wait a
to
minute.
something totally different.
Why is it ick with that and not
Because it's
10
not
years
that's
later?
not a woman, that's a child. And because it's a child, that's why there's a collective ick.
But she is, she's gone through puberty, maturity.
No, she hasn't.
So
she's
she's a
still
sexual
going.
being.
No, she's not gone through puberty. She's still going through puberty. She
she's able
hasn't.
to
Hang
have
on,
a
hang
baby.
on. She's
How is she
still
still going through it?
You're not complete with puberty just because you can have a child. That's not completion of puberty.
Well, what is the completion of it?
Well, usually the
Turning a
completion of
certain
it
age?
is if the vaginal canal is completely intact and your organs are fully grown and all of these different things. And this usually happens.
you cannot-
Stop. Let me finish before you cut me off. Usually the completion of these things happens around 18, 19 years old. Sometimes a little earlier,
well,
but because it
look that up.
generally happens, you can look it up. I looked it all up for the Muslim debate. In fact, I can send you the data on this. And since that is true, that generally speaking, that's when this is complete, then it's probably a very valid and good idea for why this was the age which was settled on.
I would have to look in the history of why we settled on 18, because I don't know that. That's very interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just thinking, if a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old can have a baby, I would think that their puberty is developed.
Are you saying that a 13-year-old
to the point where
boy?
we shouldn't think it's ick if they're in a relationship?
Are you
with
saying
an
that a
older person?
13-year-old boy who is capable of ejaculation has completed puberty, ma'am?
If he can ejaculate and impregnate,
then he's
a
completed.
female,
No,
yes.
he has not completed puberty just because he can
What is the
ejaculate.
completion part?
The
I mean, that's
complete-
just growing bodies. That's just a growing body. Like, if you can do the finality of puberty, which is create life, then
That's
you're
not the
completed enough
finality
in my
of
book.
puberty. Puberty is the stage between childhood and adulthood where your body is coming into its own and your organs are growing into what they're going to be as an adult.
Okay, well,
and so the thing
listen.
is that, are you saying, I just want to make sure I got this on record, that you are saying that you think that a boy at 10 or 11 years old, because he's capable of ejaculation, that this means that they're done with puberty? Because that's an insane proposition, just so you know.
I don't know the boy side of it. I'm thinking of.
But if it was the
girl
case
side
with
of
the
it as,
boy,
like,
then your argument that because they can have a
well, I
child
don't know.
means that they're done with puberty. A boy can have a child even before he's done with puberty. That doesn't mean he's done with puberty.
Well, what is that? What is done with puberty then?
Well, generally, it would be, so this varies from person to person. Some people complete puberty before other people.
Well, yeah.
But generally
But I think
speaking,
this is just getting into science mumbo jumbo, because I'm in perimenopause right now, but that could take 10 to 15 years before I go into menopause. And it's just like, okay, we've developed terms for different things, and we're just talking in circles. But if you can have a baby at 13 years old, what is ick about it if it's with a partner who's
Because
older
they're
than you?
children. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. How are you this evening?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you for allowing me up. I really appreciate that very much.
Absolutely.
Um,
Andrew,
yeah,
Andrew,
go ahead.
you have a stunning voice. Holy smokes.
Really?
Can we get some W's in the chat for Andrew's voice? I know it's not just me. That
My
is
my
holy
my dream
smokes.
one day is to become a YouTuber and have over 100 live viewers like I see you have right now.
Yeah, no, listen, first of all, I think it's super easy, right? You can do it, but no, like, I'll just say, just genuine people like you, they hang out. That's all. We're just hanging out. That's it. Everybody's just hanging out.
Well, awesome, man. Well, thank you for allowing me up, and I'd like to kind of get into some of these topics with you and have a respectful conversation.
Absolutely.
If I interject as we're kind of going back and forth, please don't take offense. It's probably just me
Absolutely.
trying to get to the point. If I'm doing it too much, just tell me to shut up. I think that's fair.
Yeah,
So,
no.
so diving into this, when you say MAGA's over because Trump lied about all of these things, to be
hmm
specific, when you're saying, for instance, pro-life, what do you mean when you're claiming he lied about being pro-life? I mean, his judges most certainly passed I mean, probably the finest abortion reform that we've ever seen, kicking it back to the states. This is something that Republicans wanted in the worst way, and he definitely
hmm
made that happen.
Yeah, no. So what I'll say, and the one thing that I'll say is, please remember TikTok
Oh
etiquette
yeah,
or
yeah. I'm
whatever.
really sorry.
So
What
we'll
what
say
word should I use?
AB. No worries. You're just AB.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
AB.
No problem. I'm really sorry
Um,
about that, man.
No, you're fine, my friend. The reason why I say that, it's more so it's centered around. It's not about the judges, because you're absolutely right. But I don't put the judges and getting Roe overturned. That wasn't. Trump likes to take credit for it, but that was the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation worked on that for 50 years. They formulated the plan. They executed the plan. They got the right person that actually was able to fulfill the plan. Donald Trump has gone back and forth multiple times as far as what he actually believes. Now, you can even talk about it, and I don't necessarily want to go into the allegations of him paying for certain, ABs or whatever,
Hmm.
but he is very much, depending on what's important to him, just like how he came out and said, "Oh, I'm going to vote against the 6 week ban for AB in Florida." And then he got a call from the Heritage Foundation, from a lot of those groups, and they said, "Hey, can you clarify this, because we need to make sure that you're still on board with being pro-life." And then he immediately turned around and was like, "Oh, actually, I am pro-life, and I'm not going to vote for this." And then you have JD Vance, who doesn't say anything without getting the green light from Trump, coming out and saying that if a AB ban came across Trump's desk,
He
he
would
would
veto
veto
it.
it.
Yeah, I
And
saw that
then
he said he would veto it, but
yeah,
to kind of cut in just briefly here,
yeah, go
to
ahead.
kind of keep it on topic. I agree ultimately that perhaps Trump's a bit wishy washy on this, but ultimately he does have to work within the paradigm of the Republican and Democrat Party. He doesn't really have a choice if he's elected. One of the things that stalled his agenda the first time around was that he could not get support from Democrats and Republicans for any of the things he wanted to do, which included his border wall. It included his what it was referred to as the Muslim ban, these kinds of things. He was just simply not able to get the kind of support that he needed to pass a lot of the things that he clearly wanted to fulfill his promises on. So I think in this
Well, let
case,
me
what
let me ask you this
well,
question,
I'm
because
almost done, man. I just wanted to say, in this case, I think that ultimately he's trying to fulfill this promise, but he thinks he needs to compromise with the Republicans and Democrats to at least do something about this issue, and he's definitely going to do a lot more about it than Kamala Harris, who's going to move it the other direction.
okay, so let me say this. Um, Donald Trump came into office with the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Donald Trump had the support of Republicans to get massive tax cuts passed. And then 2 years later, that's when they lost, control, the type of
Yeah.
control that they had. If he wanted to get certain things done, he had the ability to do so, and he focused on what was important. And the border wall wasn't important. Insulin wasn't important. Infrastructure wasn't important. Those tax cuts were important. Those judges were important. He got all of those things passed. So to say that he didn't have the support, that's not true. And for the most of the
Well,
time,
hang on.
the
When
Democrats
you're
were
talking
in the
about
majority. Whoa, whoa,
support,
whoa, whoa. Hold on, friend.
yeah.
You
Go
gotta
ahead.
let me finish.
Go ahead.
So for the most part, they were able to pass those things that they wanted to pass. They put a focus on, and those things that he campaigned on, that he said he wanted to pass. Not only did he not get those passed, but the Biden-Harris administration got a lot of those things passed.
Yeah, but let's keep this in context. First, there was two very, very phony impeachments going on against Donald Trump that he had to deal with simultaneously while he was trying to pass his agenda in only 4 years. And these were phony impeachments. The initial one, especially, the entirety of Russiagate, was just nonsense. But ultimately, he did pass a lot of economic reforms that did lead to a large amount of job growth. It led to lower gas prices. It led to people getting massive bonuses, and it led to companies having a lot of equity so that they could expand. He also was able to keep the interest rate of the Fed very, very low, which was really good to expand the money supply. So in the 2 years he did have the support of the Republicans, he passed a wide array of his economic agenda, which is what people really wanted more than anything else, was the idea of the dream of, can we have a family where just one person works? Can we get back to some semblance you remember, like, he called Boeing and said, no, Boeing's going to stay. You remember he was working directly with companies. His promise to us was that he was going to keep the jobs here. And clearly he was working on those aims and goals.
Okay, so a lot of that wasn't true, friend. A lot of it wasn't true. From one, Trump has nothing to do with the actual interest rates. The Fed controls the interest rate. He can say that he wants to influence it, but that's not what the president does.
He negotiated directly with him.
No, he didn't.
He did. He in fact, his chairman came out and explained the negotiations.
Okay, so let me finish my point.
Okay, go ahead.
Jerome Powell controlled the Fed, not Donald Trump. He is actually even talking about how now he feels like the president should have some type of influence on the Fed. And that's what he said. So no, he didn't do that. You talk about, keeping companies or keeping jobs here in America. Well, I mean, with the trade wars that he caused, he lost a lot of major jobs that left America, including Harley Davidson. But
you can't put that on Trump, Harley Davidson.
Yeah, you can.
How was he responsible for Harley Davidson?
Well, because of his trade wars and then the price of steel going up.
No, that wasn't what did it. He was going to repeal the North America Free Trade Agreement. He did this because it's vastly unpopular. It's vastly unpopular with American industry. It was the number one demand he had from American industry was to get rid of this. And well, how else can you compete with China, for instance, without tariffs? That makes no sense. You can't compete with 10 cent labor without tariffs. It can't be done. Go ahead.
1 second. So I let you get all of your points off. So I'm gonna ask you to just kind of hold off for me for a second.
Yeah. He's not going to address anything I just said.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah. So
literally not going to address the fucking thing I just said.
Not only was it the trade wars that caused an increased price in steel, and that's why we lost multiple companies that no longer wanted to stay here in the United States. Trump did multiple things to actually harm the overall economics of everyday Americans. So you talked about the actual tax cuts, and you said that he did the tax cuts and it helped with corporate America, and they did blah 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 blah. Most of these major companies did stock buybacks and dividend payouts to their executives. They didn't reinvest that in their companies. They didn't expand their companies. They didn't do anything along those lines. They just gave that money to the C-level executives. And then even when you talk about the actual tax cuts that were received, the corporations and got a 14% tax cut, where middle class got a 1% tax cut, and that 1% tax cut had a limit on it, which it ends, I think it's this year, but the tax cut that the corporations received is permanent. So there were multiple things that, you said that just wasn't true. And Trump has repeatedly showed that he's not here for the middle class. He's here for big business.
No, I mean, the things I'm saying clearly are true. They did expand equity massively. Tons, millions, millions upon millions of Americans got bonuses. It's true executives got bonuses as well, but why wouldn't their bonuses be higher? They're the executives. They now have a much greater share to go around because they had a massive tax cut. But to say that millions of Americans didn't get bonuses from that, I got one. For instance, I got a bonus because of that. Tons and tons of people did. But on top of that, the amount of equity that was then put out in the market, it created a job jamboree. I mean, if you couldn't get a job under the Trump administration, you weren't looking, because they were everywhere. Companies were expanding and hyper accelerating their expansion. And you saw this all over, especially the Rust Belt in the Midwest, which is where Trump's real target was. The idea that we could keep the domestic firms local again and we could manufacture local again, that was what people were voting for Trump for. And that's what he was attempting to accomplish by saying, look, there's no possible way that people in Michigan can compete with Chinese labor without us introducing tariffs and things like this and tax cuts for corporations to keep them here domestically so they don't move abroad. The only way that you can compete with the type of wage war you would have from the Chinese paying their hourly workers $1 an hour on average versus the United States, which are unionized, you got to pay them $30-$40 an hour, would be to say to American companies, if you keep it domestic, we're not going to tariff the crap out of it. That was what Trump's goal was.
No.
Yes.
No, Andrew, you're okay. So Andrew, you're being dishonest. You're being super dishonest, my friend. That, like, you said a lot of things that aren't true.
He just keeps
Starting
repeating
with
that.
The fact that if you couldn't get a job under the Trump administration, then you weren't looking.
You weren't.
Trump left office with a net loss of 3 million jobs.
Yeah, because of COVID. Because of COVID, dude. Be honest. It was because of COVID. Yes, it was 100% because of COVID. That's dishonest, bro.
Hold on. No. Let's see. The shutdown, the panic, COVID pushed more than 22 million people out of work in March. March and April.
Yep.
But then let's see here. Roughly, they only added 7 million new jobs outside of COVID. So, but you can't.
Oh, is that all? Did they only add 7 million new jobs outside of COVID? Is that it?
How many jobs do you think were added under the let's not even say how many jobs were added under the Biden-Harris administration? How many jobs?
Biden inherited Trump's economy, and he had nowhere to go. Let me finish. He had nowhere to go but up. Hang on, he had nowhere to go but up because he was coming directly out of a lockdown.
Trump inherited Obama's
economy sucked, and everybody knows it sucked. He had massive problems with.
Andrew, you're being dishonest, my friend. And I usually don't do this, but
you won't even let me respond.
I'm gonna have to go ahead.
You won't let me respond.
No, I have to go ahead and.
You won't let me respond.
No.
Fucking
I'm sorry.
dude.
I'm sorry. That was a lot of misinformation. I normally don't do that, but that was a lot of misinformation. I usually like to let people speak.
What a fucking loser, dude.
And we have a conversation, like a good conversation. And I tried to let him talk because I wanted him to get his points across, and I was going to speak to those points. But that was a lot of misinformation.
Shit.
That was really bad. And for you to say that Obama's economy was bad.
It was fucking bad.
It was amazing. No,
it was
George
fucking
Bush
awful, dude.
Economy was bad. Obama's economy was booming.
Oh, no.
So there's a huge difference. So
this fucking economy
I'm sorry,
sucked.
Andrew. I appreciate you coming up, my friend, but you didn't come up to have a genuine conversation in earnest. You came up because
to wreck your dumb ass, and then you threw me off because you got wrecked.
I'm sorry, I couldn't let you do that.
Yeah, okay, whatever, dude.
Sorry. I'm
Got
sorry,
fucking
chat.
wrecked.
Even for, people that thought he was, quote unquote cooking or whatever. Like, yeah, I mean, that's fine. And I wanted to talk to him because he seemed like a pretty decent guy. But man, those were a lot of lies.
Bullshit.
Like, a lot.
Oh, he lost.
So,
look at all the jobs Trump lost due
anyway,
to fucking
guys,
the lockdowns.
thank you so much.
Unbelievable.
We're up to 66.6 thousand likes.
Unfucking
That's a heck of a number. Let's.
Unbelievable. So yeah, he lost a ton of jobs because the entire fucking country got locked down. So Biden has nowhere to go but up when he gets elected because the lockdowns go away. And so he just pretends, oh, people who got their job back, we added a job. We added a job. Like, yeah, fuck you, you disingenuous prick. Fuck you, you disingenuous prick. Bullshit. Well, I can answer this question for you on the disproportionality. So when you so if the logic here is you're cautious of all men because men could assault you. So like, maybe at night you cross the street when a group of men is walking towards you. I'm not even sure that most men would blame a woman for doing that. I would, however, give you the rejoinder that then what would the problem be with men wanting to protect their businesses and assets by not hiring women, for instance? Because if they do, there's a greater chance that they could deal with some type of, sexual harassment claim or something like this. So if the idea is that women are they're trying to protect themselves from something which they think men disproportionately do, I don't see why men shouldn't be allowed to protect themselves from the disproportionate amount of false SA claims, which is almost 100% one-sided.
So the false SA claims, are they outweighing the real SA claims?
Well, no, probably not, but it's still disproportionate. Okay. That was what your question is. So your
Yeah,
question was about disproportionate.
kind of-
What is disproportionate? It would be disproportionate the amount of false SA claims towards men versus men towards women. So if the argument is, but men assault women more than, than the other way around, or even if they don't, they do more damage. It's like, okay, that's fair. So if you need to protect yourself from that, I think that the argument back would be, then why can't men protect themselves from these false claims? Most men are not going to SA you. Most women are not going to make false claims. But if we're going to just kind of do the stereotypical thing, then I don't see why both of us shouldn't protect ourselves from the other.
It's not about like most men not saying. Okay, so for the false claim thing, if most women were or more women were making false accusations about men harassing them in the workplace or whatever, then the real accusations, then I would agree with you.
Why would that makes no sense. That doesn't logically follow. Well, so here I'll explain. So the thing is that if we take the entire pool of men which are available in a pool who assault women, it's very, very, very tiny. But women will take this pool and say, because they're far more likely to do this, I then feel justified in staying away from them or guarding myself from them in some way. Nobody's even blaming you for that. But if that is the case, it would be the same logic to say, well, it's a very small amount of women who make these false claims about men. So since that is the case, why shouldn't men also guard themselves from those claims?
Okay, and another thing you're saying is basically you're saying men should like oppress women in the workplace to avoid these yeah.
That's a huge
That's what you're saying. Because if we're being cautious of men, we're not saying like, oh, men aren't allowed anywhere near us or anything. We're going to create laws where men can't be in the same vicinity as us or anything like that. That's not what we're saying.
Well, okay. Well, wait. Hang on. It's all voluntary. So the idea here is that there's no oppression for voluntary exchanges. So if a man doesn't want to hire a woman because he doesn't want to take any risk, he's protecting himself the same way a woman is. If she crosses the street, they're both making preconceived notions based on a falsehood, which is that most men are not going to assault you if you're walking down the street. That's the truth. Most women are not going to make a false SA claim. But the logic is still the same, that because this happens, we need to protect ourselves from it. It's the same claim.
You understand that one has a major consequence.
They both have major consequences.
No, they don't.
Yeah, one creates a negative stereotype about men, which is unwarranted, and that creates a stigma, which is that is an unwarranted societal stigma against men, that they're violent, that they're thugs. If people, for instance, cross the street only because the men who were approaching were black, wouldn't you say that was a stigma?
Okay, so it's funny when people like to compare like black people
The
because
same.
black people have
It's
different
just the same
stories.
logic. It's the
It's
same.
not.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
not. And let me
Wait,
It
explain
is.
why
It's a
it's not.
stigma. It's a stigma.
It's
You're
not.
creating a false
Wait,
stigma.
It's
what if we change black with Hispanic? Like
no,
Puerto
it's
Ricans.
still not. So
It
okay.
literally is.
It
So let me
literally is.
explain.
Yeah.
Can I
It's the symmetry
explain?
Yeah. I
breaker.
would like to hear the explanation. Yeah.
All right. So the
He's
reason why it's
100% right
not
on
is
this.
the reason why it's not is because men hold the most positions of power in our United States system, and men
That's a
have
choice.
more authority. So, if black people had more authority
That's a
than,
choice.
say, white people, then you could make that distinction, but that's not the case.
Okay, well, hang on. Well, then I'll contend directly with this argument. If it's just about power dynamics, women hold more institutional power than men do. They hold institutional power over all forms of education. They have way more degrees. They own more housing. They have disproportionate positions as educators and as physicians over men. Men, on the other hand, are doing the blue collar, laborious jobs that women don't want to do and are physically incapable of doing. So the thing is that already men are disproportionately downtrodden. But let us assume for just a minute that you're 100% correct and the power dynamics are still there. It still wouldn't matter. It would make my point and not yours, because if a group of white women only crossed the street because it was a group of black men, you would say that was creating a stigma, that was a negative stereotype. The same exact logic would apply if a woman just crossed the street for any group of men. It would still create a negative stigma. And if a woman makes a false SA claim against men, it creates a negative stigma. So if you think you're justified in protecting yourself from this, we think we're justified in protecting ourselves from that.
Okay, yeah. So once again, your
Yeah.
effect, or the effect that you would have on women by not hiring them because you think they could make a false essay accusation, has a huge impact
Yeah, it
versus
has a
the women
huge
who
impact to
support
create
it.
societal stigma against men too. Massive impact. In
So,
fact, to the point where in the dating market,
But the stigma
men
is
are terrified
justified.
of even approaching
Stigma
women
is
and
justified
requesting a
because
date.
99% of all violent crimes are committed by men.
No, that's not
Did you
true.
hear
First
the
of all,
FBI
that's
numbers?
categorically false. What you're looking at is prosecuted crimes.
These
Yeah,
numbers
when
are
it comes,
published.
bro, when it comes to, no, first of all, that's not even true. You're looking at FBI statistics. And
Federal crime
yeah,
statistics.
let me go further though. Okay, there's independent studies. All they're looking at is prosecution rates. But when you ask people, when they do polling and when they do studies on DV, for instance, the FBI statistics far and away say that men commit the most amount of DV. Interestingly enough, though, bro, I'm not dismissing them. I'm giving you a refutation to
You
them.
can only gain like
Stop. Are you going to let me
5%
respond?
at most.
You're not going to let me
You
respond?
can go from 99 to 95.
You're not going to let me respond?
He's a
John,
white
let him
knight,
talk.
y'all. He's a white knight, y'all.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'll respond to this. Okay. What you're looking at is you're just looking at prosecutions. That's all the FBI can show you. They can just only show you what's being prosecuted, right? But it doesn't give you the background on the why. So this would be the same thing. I can make the same claim and say, okay, well, black people are disproportionately represented when it comes to violent crime too. But it doesn't show us the whys. And so we have to dive into the whys. Women actually do commit tons and tons of DV and violent crimes. It just goes mostly unreported by men. Now, we know this because we have multiple studies which show this, that men report that they have been SA'd and don't report it at way higher rates than women, that they've been physically assaulted at way higher rates than women and don't report it. And if a woman says, well, there's actually way more SA out there than is reported, you would immediately say, yeah, that's true. But for some reason, when men say it, oh, you're skeptical now.
Wait, Andrew,
Categorically
Andrew,
false.
hold on, Andrew, you don't have to. We've already been over
What
this.
mass
with
shooting is
John.
not reported?
Wait, John, hush. We've already
can't
been
say
over this
that.
with John about, like, there's been sociological studies showing that because of societal conditioning, men just won't report.
Well, would you like me, if you'd like, I can pull them up for you,
Like,
John.
can I ask a question real quick? Are you guys denying that like men commit these violent crimes?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, so you agree that they are more likely to commit violent
No,
crimes?
no.
Not
So you took it one step too far. Do I dispute that men commit violent crime? No. Do I dispute that it's disproportionate to women? Yes, I dispute that.
So how can you dispute that when there's actual like biological reasons for men to commit these
Yeah,
crimes?
unless it comes to children, let's look at we can just look at the abuse rates of children in single mother homes. Women are far more likely to abuse their children rather than single fathers. So when they have somebody who is weaker than them that they're in the caretaker position of, they're far more likely to abuse them. Way more likely than men are to abuse women.
Right,
So
can you
it's
address
disproportionate.
because we all know that testosterone makes men or makes people more aggressive. So
Yes,
higher
that's
levels
true,
of
but it also
testosterone.
makes men more logical. It also ups the amount of estrogen that men have. It makes them more emotionally temperate. So while testosterone can be linked to aggressiveness, that's true. It's also linked to emotional stability, which causes you to have less emotional outbursts.
And you know what else is connected to? You know what's more connected to violence than testosterone or any genetics?
What
Societal
is it?
upbringing. And women are not taught to keep their hands to themselves.
Yeah, by the way, peaked estrogen can also lead to aggressive behavior, and women have peaked estrogen all the time.
Did you say that you'll
Too
have
much of
more
anything is
emotional
weird.
stability if the higher the testosterone?
I mean, generally speaking,
Isn't it-
if men are between, somewhere between 800 to 1400, they're fine. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. And men can go up to 2000 without seeing much in the way of negative effects. Their bodies are designed for that, and so most men have at least in their 20s high testosterone. No, they're not aggressive.
How come we always talk about like roid rage and like men having like
Well,
these
that's steroid
emotional
usage.
outbursts?
That's different. That's
But
a
there's
completely
testosterone.
that's a
different.
whole
Just
that
testosterone, it's
no
like steroids.
that's
a shrug induced. Like that's
They're
like
injecting testosterone.
right. It's not natural.
It's not just testosterone as well. Test is a
no,
form
it's not.
of or it can be used as a form, but there are way more popular and more effective types of things you could use than just test. Test is actually pretty limited and
it's very safe for men, especially, and women usually actually have too low of testosterone in modernity, and oftentimes have to use replacement as well. But the thing is that any chemical that you have too much of in your body can cause aggressiveness, including in women with estrogen. So no, just men having higher amounts of testosterone than women, it can make them much better when they're in a fight or flight response at perhaps physically defending themselves, building muscle, things like this. But it doesn't mean that they are more aggressive. They can actually be more emotionally even keeled.
Linked to aggression, but okay.
Yes, but so is estrogen. Estrogen is also linked to aggression, and women have way more estrogen than men.
All right, let me look that.
This is a ridiculous argument.
Just real quick.
He's 100%
Hold on,
right.
guys. I'm one of the mods here, so if you guys don't mind, I'd like to welcome in Andrew. really appreciate you for coming by. Just while we have you for a few, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the prompt. I think I would just love to hear what you'd have to say if you don't mind sharing.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, sir. I really appreciate it. Over on your live, just so that you guys know, there's about 3,000 people live watching you all right now. I think they're enjoying the conversation.
We know.
That's tough.
We know. What's up to the Crucible?
What's up to the Crucible?
Welcome.
So what's specifically on the prompt? Well, the KAM, of course, that's just psychotic, right? But the man v bear has always been a very stupid proposition to me. Obviously, your chances of getting out of a forest with a random man is going to be far better than if you spawn in with a random bear. And the chances that he's going to do anything to you are extremely low. If you were to go and pat random men on the head versus random bears on the head, what do you think would happen?
I'd lose a hand.
I think you'd lose a hand, yeah. And I think that if any random woman went over and just patted a man on the head, I don't think much would happen to her. But I think if she went and patted a bear on the head, that he would eat her face. So.
Okay.
A lot of the women are choosing the bear.
Are these statements misandry?
Well, I don't think. Okay, so here's an odd take, right? I don't think that women are actually even really capable of being misandrous. Hang on, let me give you the qualification here. Let me give you the qualification. They're so indoctrinated into feminist ideology into thinking that men men essentially are demonic, evil, diabolical masterminds, and women are born saints. They're literally born saints and angels, and they don't do anything wrong until an evil man comes along and corrupts them. They're literally indoctrinated with it. They think that these are descriptors for reality. So I think from their view, it can't actually be misandry. They think that these are just descriptors, that men are bad and they're evil and that they corrupt women, and women are saints and angels and don't do nothing at all wrong until an evil man corrupts them.
Wow.
I see what you mean.
I say I agree
That's
that
really
women
well put, Andrew.
inherently can't be misandrous as well, because I don't everything from that they use to spread quote unquote misandry is provided, like they show their appreciation to men by giving men their money to talk about the things that they don't want, like they don't like about men. So it's like impossible. You can't, if you hate somebody, you avoid them. You know what I'm saying? You can't.
Well, it's super weird to me because.
Let me. Can
oh
I,
yeah,
Andrew,
no problem.
just real
Sorry.
quick, let me
Go ahead.
just respond to that because I'll forget. I don't know if it's inherent or not, but I do think that these statements are misandry, because they are rooted in hatred, prejudice, and contempt towards men. So that's why I would say they would be misandry personally.
Yeah, no, I agree. Definitionally, that's true. Okay, but if you're talking about kind of
misandrous, don't you think the sentiment?
Hold on, John, please, one sec.
Yeah, but if you're talking about the spirit of what that means, it's really interesting. If you talk to a feminist one-on-one, they're infinitely reasonable. And they seem to actually be somewhat willing to engage and discuss issues and this and that and see it from a male perspective. But collectively, they're monsters, right? So the second you add, another one of the cyborg feminists to the collective, they become the Borg, essentially. And they begin with the kind of groupthink collective of men bad. But individually, they don't seem to think that. So it's an interesting phenomenon. It's a form of collectivization which leads to collective hate mongering. I agree, but I don't think they see it that way. I think from their view, they're just giving reality descriptors, like this gal here, Opulence, right? She's just kind of saying, well, listen, it's a descriptor that men are just more dangerous than women. But when you examine this, it's like, well, maybe physically, but that's not the only way to introduce danger to people. In fact, in many ways, men would prefer that there was a physically dangerous element rather than slander, innuendo, reputational damage, being essentially called some type of insane, sex-thirsty rapist, right? So these are all these are all things that men have to deal with all the time. And
if you say feminism as a collective is bad, isn't that just generalizing and putting a monolithic descriptor over a whole group?
Yeah,
but generalizing.
Yeah, I am generalizing and putting a monolithic descriptor over the group of feminists and saying they're bad and their ideology is insane and it makes no sense and it's towards the promotion of egalitarian. Yeah, it is true.
Yeah, but what he's saying is
name a single feminist doctrine that's good. Just one.
Well, I don't think.
Hang on, let him answer. Name a single feminist doctrine that's good. One.
Women shouldn't have to suffer sexual assault. They shouldn't get.
That's not a feminist doctrine. That's part of Christian ethics. That's part of the ethics of humanity. That's not feminist dogma. What is an actual feminist dogmatic position from feminist dogma that you actually agree with? That's good. What?
Like women shouldn't have to suffer assault, especially ones.
Oh, okay. So now feminists do Christian ethics because that's Christian ethics.
Christian ethics and feminist ethics, they can overlap.
No, so just because a feminist agrees with some ethical standard, that's not the form of their dogma. That's a universal. That's a deontological universal ethic.
How do you know their dogma?
Because I read all feminist dogma I can get my hands on. What do you mean? From all of their great minds. Which one would you like to go through? Would you like to go through Mary Shelley? I mean, who do you want to go through? Their dogma is insanity. I would like you to give me an actual feminist-based policy, not one that overlaps because Christians came up with it first. Actual feminist dogma. Give me anything.
Not have claim over anti-violence stance. or sexual anti-sexual
Yeah, I
violence
know, but
stances.
okay,
It's not
but
just
give me a
exclusively Christian values.
non-overlapping policy. Anything.
It's pretty hard to do.
You can't give me anything. You can't give me anything. It's just
There's so many. Like,
well, then give me
okay,
one. Then give me a non-overlapping policy that we need feminists for.
Non-objectification of women
Mm-hmm.
through locker room talk, through grape jokes.
Yeah, those are insane policies. So that's okay. So I agree. If you're talking about objectification because people make jokes about sex, that's an insane policy. So that feminist policy actually does more harm than it does good because it shuts down conversations. So you cannot have honest conversations. So that's good. That's feminist dogma.
What you're saying is insane. You're trying to uphold a rapist culture.
What is? Wait, I'm sorry. Having an honest conversation about what is descriptively true when it comes to SA has nothing to do with upholding a culture which promotes SA, which our culture most certainly does not promote SA. That's a lie. You can show me no evidence of any policy anywhere which does. Go ahead and try.
He thinks locker room talk upholds SA, basically.
And I tried to get him to give me like a description of like a joke or something, but I couldn't get it. Like, I don't understand like where he means.
Well, the issue was,
all it is tone policing. It's all just designed to control language and conversation so that we can't give descriptors for truth. That's it. When you say a joke is inappropriate or something like this, or that oh no, somebody laughed about something at the expense of somebody else, it's like, yeah, that's how the world works, man. I'm sorry, but that's how we do political satire.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
It does, because we could not criticize our politicians if we were not allowed to do satire. We couldn't criticize them. So it does have to work that way.
Just real quick, we got 38 people in here. I definitely love if you guys could tap the screen. We can get on the For You page, and if you guys could share out this live, we'd really appreciate it. Go ahead, Mr. Andrew.
Yeah, I was just saying. Yeah, absent satire, political satire, you could not really criticize your politicians. You couldn't do it. And so satire is necessary. And so for you to say that we can't make satire about absurdities like false SA claims and things like that, that is dogma which is designed to be oppressive to the nature of freedom itself.
I say the idea that someone's sense of humor means that their morality is non-existent, or that they would see someone getting essayed or even participate in essay because they find something humorous is just ignorant.
That's absurd, John.
Like if you see I don't know, a kid fall down, like, does that mean, and you find it funny that you like pushing kids over to watch them fall down?
Of course not. It's ridiculous. It's
like,
it's ridiculous. Well, not only is it absolutely ridiculous, but this is the same thing. Most humor, which is bawdy or is uncouth or things like this, what makes humor funny is if it points to something that's true. Otherwise, it's not funny. And so usually people are only laughing because they think there's a lot of truth in what this person is saying, and it's the absurdity which is funny.
And I don't know. It's just like, again, you can't look at these statements up here and say that they're not based in hate. Like, and that's what it was supposed to. Like, I swear he's never even answered if it's misandrist or not to say.
Oh yeah, actually he hasn't.
KAM.
Actually, he hasn't. But John, do you think these statements? Well, actually, we've talked to you a lot. Opulence. Do you think these statements are misandrous? Opulence.
Hey, sorry.
Yeah. Do you think the statements are misandrous?
What were the statements?
The ones on the panel.
Oh, are they misandrous? I think the KAM. I just recently heard that one. Somebody brought it up. I didn't even know that was a thing. So I don't really know too much about it, but maybe it's too vulgar. I don't know. Maybe that one's misandrous, but all men till it's known men, no. Man versus bear, no.
So do you pick the bear?
I don't know. Honestly, I think it's kind of dumb. I don't think it's misandrous, but I think it's just kind of like there's too much nuance to it, so it doesn't really
Well,
work.
the
what
misandrous
does
part is the idea that women would think that 80% of America would essay them.
All right.
opulence? What does
80% of
all
men
Hold,
in
hold on,
America.
hold
hold
on,
up,
everybody.
hold up.
The host has gotten
Yeah,
on mute
I
now,
just
so
want to
let's
know
let
like
him talk.
what does all men until no men mean to you, opulence?
Oh yeah, that means like be cautious of all men until no men are committing acts of violence against women.
Whoa. Time out. So you think that in any world there's gonna be no acts of violence?
Well, yeah, probably not, but or maybe until it's so low and it's comparable to what women do. Yeah.
Women aren't. I've already stated that women aren't prosecuted for the same, like at the same rate that men are for the same
But
crime.
men aren't prosecuted as well. Like
Yes,
there's
they
so
are.
many.
Yes, they
What are you
are.
talking
They're
about?
not. There's so
You
many
literally
like
could look at
We've
the
been through this.
FBI database and notice that men are prosecuted far more for the same crimes.
Opulence.
They
for the
literally have these
same
stats
crime with the
for the
same
same
evidence.
crimes.
We've been through
Let me
this,
look that up.
opulence.
This is why my boy Dirk locks up right now because they get prosecuted.
We've been through this already.
Men are more falsely accused than women are.
Because of gender roles, right? We see the courts tend to be biased towards women because they think they aren't capable or culpable or of doing the same crimes because they're seen as angels.
Here,
Or
let me
things like that.
let me read some stats for you, opulence, just to help you out with this. This is from researchgate.net. It's publication 33. You can look at it. Millennial women use physical violence to essay twice as often as millennial men or all previous generations. You can find also there 60% of college women confess
wait.
to. Hang
Can we
on.
run that back?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, you said repeat that stat again.
Millennial women use physical violence to essay. They actually use the R word here, but I don't want to use it because you're on TikTok. Twice as often as millennial men or all previous generations.
Okay.
ResearchGate.net, publication 33, 60% of college women confess to SA facilitated by drugs and alcohol, 9% to using a weapon. This is from a book called Sexual Aggression. You can find it on Amazon. 43% of college men and high school youth report being SA'd, assaulted, or R-worded 95% of the time by women. APA.org, pubs, journals. 51% of college men report being SA'd or R-worded since the age of 16. 95% by women. ResearchGate, publication 23, according to the CDC's 12-month statistics on sexual violence, the most accurate statistic on the prevalence. 50% of the victims of forced sex were male, according to the CDC's lifetime statistics. The most accurate statistic regarding who is R-wording who. On who is perpetuating SA, 80% of the men were R-worded by women. You can also find on the worldwide survey, this is from ResearchGate publication 64, found that 3% of men reported forced sex in a heterosexual relationship and 2.3% of women reported forced sex in their heterosexual relationship, meaning that women will wake up a man with a BJ far often than he will wake her up with X when it is not warranted. So, by the way, this goes on and on and on. I have so many stats on this, it's unbelievable. What they did, the CDC, was they said if it's non-penetrative sex, they dismissed the findings. They dismissed them because it's non-penetrative. So basically, all male SA is ruled out as being SA. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life.
Wait, men
we went
can't
through
be
this.
penetrated.
Andrew up here cooking, man.
Men can't have a woman, or a woman can't penetrate a man. Is that what they're saying?
Well, no, not generally. What are they going to penetrate them with? Their finger?
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think.
so
no, what they do is they drug them. They drug them, or they sleep with them while they're drunk, or things like this. Which, if the role, it is. If the role is reversed, it's considered SA by these colleges. So they're applying the same standard the college applies to SA towards women, where you would get your stats of how many women were SA'd on a college campus. They're applying the same exact standard to men.
Okay, so you're saying the statistics that I have that are saying that men perpetuate most sexual whatever violent crimes. You're saying that those statistics are telling me something different.
Those are convictions, right?
Well, they're telling you there. So what you're looking at is a mixture of FBI statistics based on prosecution. This is looking at the same way where public data is gathered for how many women have been SA'd. So you've heard this before, right? Most SA goes unreported. Most R word goes unreported.
Yeah.
You've heard that? Right. Okay. So the only way that you can gather that data is based around self-reports. So since they're gathering it around self-reports, they use the same standard to gather these same self-reports for men. And lo and behold, it was higher than what women reported.
Okay, I'm gonna need those statistics because
Well, I just gave them to
this.
you. You can
I
find
mean, I'm
again
gonna need it like
researchgate.net publication 64,
okay,
researchgate.net 23.
researchgate.net.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
He's
let's see
been
what
giving
this
you
is.
sources the whole time.
The
Hey,
entire
Mr.
time.
Andrew, those are fire sources, and I wanted to write them down. So if you could repeat them a
Just
little bit slower,
just DM me over on Twitter at PaleoChristCon, and I will just DM them all over to you, bro.
Okay,
Oh
cool.
I will
yeah,
make sure all of you
I-
are armed against these feminazi liars.
I've never even heard of that, because when they used to be like men commit, I used to agree, but then I would just refute it with the statistics are skewed because it's too much underreported. And I never even knew that existed. Um, but I always say that obviously like the rate will probably be
Well,
similar
how about
or as
this?
high
This
as
one, this one's great. This is from researchgate.net publication number 64. Also, recent results on sexual exploitation juvenile correctional facilities find extremely high rates of female on male abuse. In most serious incidences of staff sexual misconduct, an estimated 91% of incidences involved only female staff, while only 6% involved male staff. So this goes, this is so, there's so much to this. It's unbelievable. And we have all of the stats on our side. What they did was they ruled out, and I can even show this to you as well. I can show you exactly where the CDC ruled out that non-penetrative acts were not considered to be the R word because
Yeah,
women
where's that?
demanded it. And the second you understand that, you'll understand why it is that that men are painted as these monsters when in fact, even if I asked you, Opulence, isn't it true that you've been to a party or something like this where if a man was sitting on a couch and some like random 5'5" woman came over and started rubbing his shoulders and flirting with him, nobody would think it was a big deal. Whereas if the reverse happened and a 6'2" man went over and started rubbing a 5'5" stranger woman's shoulders, that you would find that to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason that you find one to be a big deal and not the other is exactly why most forms of SA go unreported by men, because women just don't fucking care.
Wait, so I'm sorry, did you say that the woman was bigger than the man in the first situation?
It wouldn't matter
No.
what the configuration was. It would be socially
It kinda
acceptable.
does.
It would be socially acceptable for the woman to touch men, and it's never socially acceptable for the man to touch the woman. And that is the fact of the matter. We find this over and over again in these same research publications, over and over and over again, where men say they had all sorts of unwanted sexual touching, but nobody cared. They just don't care.
So I don't know if you're 21 or not, but you're telling me like you don't go to a club or a bar and you don't see women throwing it back on guys who weren't even like a part of any type of conversation, like without even.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what I'm saying. So how is that not the same type of action
Would
as
that
a
be
man
considered
Because-
going up and
logic?
trying to grind on a random woman?
because normally it's like a woman can't really exert much power over the man, so people
So that's all
aren't
it
that
is. You just don't
concerned.
think. That
Well,
women
but
are
it's
capable
that's
of
false.
performing
That's
Wait,
false.
so wait.
This is a false dialectic, because actually the power initiated here is all on behalf of a woman. A woman can do unwanted touching and is basically untouchable for it, whereas a man has checks and balances. Other men beat him up. The court system deals with him, things like that. So actually, you are the ones who are in the position of power, not men.
Even if a man feels uncomfortable enough and feels like it's
Wait,
a problem enough to call the police, he's more likely to go to jail for that interaction than she is.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not even gonna. I don't
no.
even. Let's not even go on that.
That's
dude.
not true.
So, Oculus, I'm gonna make it a
Are
very
you sure?
specific
Yes.
analogy.
Okay.
Hold on. What'd you say,
Wait,
Honor?
one second. Opulence, I'm gonna make a very specific analogy for you, or hypothetical for you. So you said that because the man was larger in the last one. So if a 5'5" man went up to a woman and started rubbing her shoulders, and this woman was 6'3", is it not SA anymore because he's smaller than her?
Rubbing her I mean, like I said, or I didn't say this, sorry. It is still SA either way, but I'm saying the reason why people don't really care is because they assume that the man can like defend himself.
No. Women don't care. Women don't care. This is a
Men
this is a
don't care
strictly
either,
female
but okay.
argument that because we're weaker than you, we can do whatever we want to you. That's a
So you
strictly that.
really
And by the way,
think
that is a form of power dynamics of you trying to display power and control by saying because I'm weaker than you, I can do what I want to you. Men do not, on the other hand, when they're asked about this, they say, yes, that's totally inappropriate. That shouldn't be happening. That's awful. It's women specifically who make the bold
be
claim
so
that their
for
vagina
real?
is so awesome that men just have to have it. They have to.
This Napoleon syndrome is
Bro,
quite
be
strong.
for real.
We're being
What
for
men are
real.
sitting there saying this is inappropriate? Oh my god! Like,
The men
be
who
for
are
real.
the men who are asked in
Why
these
you throwing ass on
the men
me?
who are asked in these
I got a
various
woman at
studies
home.
in
Why you throwing
colleges.
ass on me randomly?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you might
these
not
This is
see
just
it.
Why are you
cognitive.
touching me? Why are you rubbing my
You're
shoulder?
just
Hey,
assuming.
just real quick, Opulence. Do you think men enjoy being SA'd?
No, but I'm saying in the instance that he gave, where like if a woman were to start giving a man a back rub, I highly doubt that there's gonna be a bunch of men being like, "Oh my God, that's
Just
so
assuming.
No, it'll be
inappropriate!" Like,
no. What
wow,
happens
that's
is the opposite. Women will say it's inappropriate that the man is doing that. He's essaying her. But if the reverse happens, women will say that's totally fine. Who cares? Because she's weaker than him, so who cares? So like
Golly.
basically weak midgets are allowed to beat you up because they're weak midgets. Basically, that's the logical extension here. Is if you're a weak midget, you can beat people up.
so. This is just down to opinion, but
It's
I'm
not
trying my
opinion. It's a
best to
fact. It's a
find
social
your.
fact.
I'm trying
Yeah.
my best to find his sources, Andrew. Like, I can't find
I'll
anything
DM them
regarding
over
this.
to you.
Okay,
Where do you want me to
Ma'am.
DM them to?
struggling.
I'm sure he's pretty relevant. He knows his
No.
stuff, so.
Okay, but I can't find anything to back up what he's
Look
saying.
up on Amazon sexually
Yeah,
aggressive
find it.
women,
It's
current
because it's not
perspectives
real.
and controversies.
All right, let's see.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how you're struggling to see if it's bad for one gender to do. How is it not bad?
No. I'm struggling to see the statistics that he brought up earlier about women basically being more likely to
But
enact
see, I never
sexual
knew the I
But
never
violence.
knew the
you
rate.
said earlier that because there's a power dynamic.
Okay, the study from ResearchGate is called Generation by Gender Differences in Use of Sexual Aggression, a replication of the Millennial Shift. From the Journal of Sex Research, authored by Peter Anderson of Walden University, Cindy
So you have
Struckman,
one study.
and George L. Smeaton.
You asked for a specific one. He's giving you a specific
Okay,
one
because
to look
it's
up right
like
now.
everything else basically contradicts what he's saying, but
Yeah, that's
There's
great.
hundreds of
That's great.
studies.
The thing is about sociology, especially, is one of the biggest parts of the replication crisis, which affects it, is publishing bias, and people will only publish based around negative results rather than positive results because it elicits a response. So this is called Generation by Gender Differences in Use of Sexual Aggression, a replication of the Millennial Shift. The author is Peter Anderson of Walden University, Cindy Struckman Johnson, George L. Smeaton. It gives you the abstract, and it shows you all of the graphs of the interactional, generational, since they've been keeping track of this, right in the first paragraph.
all right.
Hey, Andrew, is your Twitter in your bio?
Yeah, well, no, I don't think it is. It's at PaleoChristCon.
Would you DM me on here?
I probably won't be able to.
Yeah, I don't know how to like tab out and not leave the live.
Yeah,
He's also on the whatever podcast.
Yeah,
so
bro.
he's
Just
online.
just
I'll
write
just follow
down
you.
just write down his Twitter handle and then get at him that way. I think because that's how he suggested for
Is
me.
this like
Okay, here, let me
a
get a pen.
locked
You can look up the
thing?
Crucible.
Like, is this
Not
locked?
real studies. You're just cherry picking some random
Right.
wrong stats to make it seem like it's an equal issue, but it's not. Women are the victims and men are the perpetrators, and we all know this.
No, we don't all know this. In fact, I just disputed it. I have real stats. I just gave you real studies, unless you're considering
Real
Walden
study?
University
It's
to
not
be.
important.
Yes, it is important.
So why?
It's
are
important. It's
1% of
important
men-
that you. It's important that you are perpetuating lies upon the society in which I live, where you are pretending that men are monsters when they're clearly not monsters. When in
No one's
fact,
saying they're
men are
monsters.
when men are the ones who are being assaulted, and women are just proclaiming that they're the ones being assaulted. The opposite of what you're saying is true because you live in a false dichotomy. Let me ask you a question. I'll tell you what. Let's see which one of us lives in a false reality. And let me just ask you a single question, John. John,
All right.
can men be women?
Men cannot be women.
Can men be
Men are
women,
men.
John?
Oh.
Huh?
No, men are men.
Okay. Can males be women?
I mean, males can transition into
Yeah.
women.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you
I
know
knew
what,
it,
John?
I knew it.
The thing is like I knew you were going to do like an elusive, sneaky little progressive thing. That's why I rephrased it. But that shows you the difference in the dynamics of the reality we live in. I live in the
But
real
that
one,
doesn't make-
and you live in a fake one that's totally and completely made the fuck up, John.
That doesn't make your
Facts.
sources
True.
more
You can
reliable.
transition.
I
There
gave
are
you
trans-
okay. Well, until you give me a refutation to the sources, I'm completely uninterested in what you think about
First
them.
of all, I'm pretty sure
You
your
actually
source
can't
is like
transition.
locked. I think your
It
source
is
like,
most
locked
certainly
into
not
something,
locked.
'cause,
I'm
like,
looking at
I
it
can't
right
find
now.
it.
It's a free PDF from researchgate.net. You can pull it up. It's a journal of sex research. It's a very, very, very distinguished publication. I gave it to you 50 times. Would you,
I know,
I mean,
and I keep trying to look it up.
At least you can't spell. Who knows?
It's an obscure and unimportant source. All you have to do is ask the women in your
John,
lives.
you think men can be women?
Bro,
Calm
John.
down.
all you have to
God,
do, John, is ask the men in your lives how many of them if have been touched in the same way that women respond that they have been touched, and therefore it's SA. And you're going to find out most of the men in your life have been touched the same exact way.
I've spoken with many men, and SA is not an issue for men.
What?
They
Well,
are
okay,
not
John. What is
victims.
SA?
Is.
What is it? Is it just unwanted touching? Is that SA?
You know what SA is?
Yeah,
and
I'm
you're just
asking you,
trying
is
to
it
use all
is
these
unwanted
definitions and
touching-
loopholes and
is
studies and
unwanted
research
touching
and make
SA,
it seem
John?
like it's an equal issue, but
Waiting
it's
for you
not
to
a
answer my
both
question,
sides
John.
issue.
John,
Answer the
is
question.
unwanted sexual touching SA?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't. It depends on the who's
Yes,
definition.
John. Yes,
Wow,
John.
it depends.
Yes,
It depends now, John.
You don't know, John?
Yeah, like okay, if someone
You know that
taps
women are
you on
more
the
SA
shoulder,
than
you
men,
think
but
that's
you don't know what
It's
SA
not.
is? You don't know what SA is? But
It's
you do
not.
know
I
that
mean,
women
you
are
can
more
tap
SA than
somebody.
men?
Well,
Is that
if you
right,
pat
John?
somebody on the head, is that SA? No, I don't think so.
That's not sexual touching, John.
I mean,
This is
look, the
crazy.
women are still victims. You have to.
Yeah,
you
John.
cannot
John, I'm
deny
not. I'm
this.
uninterested in what they're the victims of. If you can't even tell me what SA is, John.
Oh, Henry in here.
Okay, fine.
Ooh.
SA is like
My boy does Oxford debating.
You could Google it if you need to, brother.
I'm not gonna Google it. I know what SA is.
Then tell
Like,
us what it
I know
is,
the
John.
spirit
What
of
is
it.
it?
Say, John. Just
Because
answer the
John,
question.
we before Andrew joined, we've been over this with you like multiple times, and you keep white knighting. All right, just accept that men can be
Knighting.
victims. Just accept that men can be victims too.
No, I
Guys,
won't even
Everyone's
say
saying
that.
they
Twisting
can't.
the reality.
You're
Casper,
right.
I wouldn't
Y'all
even
are
say that.
saying they
Wait,
can't.
real quick. Real quick. Opulence. You're a feminist, right?
Yes.
Oh man,
you live in
opulence. Why do you
America,
want to? Don't do that to yourself. That's
Well,
terrible.
Yeah, you just destroyed
so-
your whole like.
That's terrible. You seem
ability
like
to
such a
find
nice
husband.
person. You don't have to do that to yourself.
So
You'll never
opulence.
find a husband.
Are
I'm
you
not
a
even trying to
men's
be
rights
funny.
activist? Do you
No.
I am.
Nope. I'm not a.
Okay. So that's
I wouldn't.
fine.
I would consider myself an advocate for patriarchal Christianity. That would be men and women who would be included in that category of the protectorate that I
So you said
would be pushing for.
patriarchal.
I like
Yes.
that better. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's correct. It's a Christianity is a patristic faith, not a feminist faith. That's correct. Yes.
Name how many matriarchies are doing well right now for me, real quick.
Or have ever
Just real
survived
quick.
the test
Just
of
real quick.
time.
Hold on, guys. Andrew, I have a question for you. You're a very cultured man. You've spoken to a lot of people. Would you say generally in society, do you think that our society is shifting to a matriarchal culture already?
No. It's desperate. The desperation to move towards patriarchy from both men and women is overwhelming. While on the one hand, the female boss babe will say that, she's awesome in every conceivable way and can wear black jumpsuits and knock out the 6'5" men with ninja kicks. At the same time she perpetuates that, she also says that she's completely and totally oppressed by the men who are around her. Which is really interesting because it creates the Schrodinger's feminist dynamic. But now that we've lived with feminism since the 1970s, women are far less likely, if asked directly if they're a feminist, to give the yay to it, because they also see now that feminism is a form of oppression. And rather than working in unison with men in the patriarchal structure, which all human societies are based around, they have instead valued the wrong thing. They valued personal education over reproduction. And so what's happened is we have a birth rate and reproductive crisis, and women not getting married till they're in their 30s. So their unhappiness levels are through the roof. So no, I think that the pendulum's swinging.
Okay, because from like a lot of propaganda, a lot of social media, it seems to me like it's starting to shift. But it was interesting how you said it is starting to shift, but there's still like, I don't want to say the V card, right? But they're still like trying to play both sides of the fence. It seems like.
Yeah, but I mean, this is very common because feminism is intricately tied into progressivism. That's always the same false dialectic of I am both empowered and a victim at the same time, and it's through my victimization that I get my power. And so that because that's always the dialectic for power of the left, feminism moves right into it perfectly.
Right.
Oh,
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
That was a great answer. Go ahead, Cass.
real quick, Opulence. So
Yeah.
you're in America, right?
Yeah. hmm
What you fighting for?
Well, right now women don't have the equal
Bodily
right over
autonomy.
their
Bodily
we don't
autonomy.
have we don't
Yeah, I'm
have
glad me and you
I
guys
already knew it was coming. I already knew
well
it was
yeah
coming. Oh my
why wouldn't I
god.
say
Hey,
that?
women don't have that right. I'm pretty sure you could still go to multiple states and get that.
Okay, well not in in a lot of the states that we live
In the
in.
majority of states, you could still get it done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
you
I
used to
mean,
not
women
be able to
always,
get that
well, all women seem to want to do is
Because
fight
we
for the
can
right
get-
to kill their children and get naked. That seems to be the only things they fight for.
Damn.
Fact.
Okay, cool.
Hey,
I mean, can you
Opulence.
tell me? Can you give me any serious female women's organization right now, Opulence, a serious female organization that is advocating for anything except women's right to undress themselves on camera or get an abortion? Any?
No,
Women are
there is none. There is none. I've
the
already.
feminist movement is fighting for women to have the right like equal representation in important
what?
Equal
positions in
representation to do
Congress.
what?
In Congress,
Yeah, to do
like the
what?
House
She
and
was
the
not to get
Senate,
that job.
To do what?
represent their
Women
states.
don't push.
Yeah,
Okay.
hang on. I want men in Congress to represent my boom boom rights, right? Gun rights. I want them to represent my freedom of speech. I want them to represent all these different things, right? Women want more women in Congress to represent the right to get naked on camera and have abortions. If that's not true, then show me any feminist think tank that is advocating for anything short of that.
How do you not see this as like just like toxic misogyny? I don't get it.
Ugh, that doesn't
Okay,
even
well, how do
exist.
you not see that your lack of logic and your lack of education on key issues doesn't make you sound like a complete rube?
Bro, you literally gave some obscure source where everything else.
I know. I gave you a half a
basically
dozen sources, and you're
Yo,
so
you gave
illiterate you couldn't
one
look them
source,
up,
bro.
even when I named the
looked it up.
authors.
I found it. Yup, I found it, and everything else debunks it. So try.
Oh,
again.
okay. Well, I'm sorry. You read this source that's hundreds of pages long in 10 seconds, and everything else debunks it. Genius, Opulence.
Yeah.
Look at the big brain on Opulence. In
just-
10 seconds, she read hundreds of pages from this
I
source.
said I read the part that you're talking about.
Well, yeah, which part was
them
that?
saying-
Yeah, which part was
saying
that?
Something about unreported unwanted schmexual touching, blah 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 blah, and saying that women. Yeah, I read that part. So.
Oh, you read the part where it says something about something. I read that part.
Yeah,
I read the part where something about something was said about
unwanted
something. I'm not really sure though.
touching. Is that what you said or no?
Or no.
Exactly.
All right, you got cooked, Opulence. Just
Okay,
let's
I
put
got
the
cooked
let's put the
because he
let's put
gave
the
one
salt and pepper
obscure
on.
source that
Conservative.
has
No, would you like more
no
sources? Would you like more?
validity to it.
Would you like more
Yeah,
sources?
give something that actually has validity to it, like something that we can actually trust.
Okay, would the APA work for you?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, do you first though? I want you to tell me, since you're a genius and
But
I'm an idiot, what does the APA stand
sorry,
for?
sorry,
What does
give me 1
APA stand for, Opulence? Yeah, you don't know, but you were willing to accept it as a source 5 seconds ago.
American.
For
Genius.
us for us slow ones in the audience.
Oh,
What
you're
is the
talking
APA?
about the
Hold on,
APA,
Opulence, Opulence.
American
What,
Psychology
hold on.
Association.
The American
Yeah,
Psychology Association.
Is that what you're talking about?
Jesus. This is you're so embarrassing to like
Andrew,
us as a
Andrew,
species. Oh my god.
for the audience, for all of us slow ones, can you tell us what that means? Because I don't know. I've never heard.
The American Psychological Association.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you laughing? Like it was so far off what I said.
Well, you didn't even know what it meant at first, and then you only kind of got a grasp, and you consider it to be an authority, and you clearly don't even know what it is. You consider these things to be authorities, and you don't even know what they are.
Yeah. I gotta go.
Don't run
Making
away
sure y'all
now,
know I'm not
Opulence. He said he's
So-
gonna give you some. He said he's gonna give you some.
He's about to
info.
run.
I'm not running.
Run the fuck away.
For
And
my
he's gonna give
run.
you sources. At least let him give you some sources so you can read up and have a better argument next time.
10 being the highest possible, so let me reframe.
10. I think everyone's a 10 up in here.
Stop and let me finish. Let me reframe the question so that you understand it better, understanding your paradigm. If 1,000 men, random, meaning, again, I can't emphasize this enough, random. In fact, repeat back the word random so I know that you know what I mean. Because I've asked this question a million times, I just need to know you know it. Yeah, random, okay. So 1,000 random men, they're at a fair, and you're in a beauty contest, and they bring you up. And they say, okay, guys, you can go from 1 to 10 on her beauty, okay? And the average of what all of you determine her beauty to be is what we'll go with. So this guy raises 2, this guy raises 4, this guy raises 7, this guy raises 10. What do you think the average, the collective of all 1,000 of the men would put you numerically?
We're going to start with you, and then we're going to ask you 4. Go ahead.
Who, me?
Yeah.
What I think that they would think of me.
Did you hear what he was saying?
He said, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of a hard question to answer.
Okay, so you answered 10.
Yeah.
So in the scenario that he gave you, what do you think they would give you? The 1,000 random men. On average.
I want to say 10. Shit.
Wow. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
it's
What about you?
fine.
You said 8. What would the 1,000 men give you?
Average? I don't know, maybe 7. Because I don't know.
This is difficult because beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so.
That's why we have 1,000 beholders, and we're asking you to average what you think they'd say.
But I don't know their perception on beauty. If they like Western beauty, if they like blonde, blue
They like
hair.
Western beauty.
I'm not Western beauty.
Yeah, great. So anyway, they like Western beauty.
So then I wouldn't be I wouldn't
Into
apply
the
to
mic.
this. I wouldn't apply to this scenario because if people like Western beauty, that's blonde hair, blue eyes, lighter skin. I'm the opposite of that.
Okay, fine. They value Eastern beauty.
But she would be a 10. I'd still be a 10. I view myself as a 10. It just depends on what you
Self-love. I
love.
don't know.
Yeah,
I know that you view yourself as a 10. My question is not how
they would be attracted to her just as much as she's attracted to herself.
What's my, hang on. I just want you to repeat for me. What's my actual question to you? Can you repeat it for me?
The question that you're asking is if there's 1,000 men, what is the average of, what is the rate that they're going to give you on average based off of the 1,000 men that are looking at you in the beauty pageant?
Yes.
Am I
Can you
taking,
answer
is that
my question?
correct? That's correct. Right?
Yeah,
They're gonna rate you a 10?
So answer the question. for the both of
Like
you.
she said, depending on where we are, like if I'm in
Okay, you're out
Middle
east.
East, or if I'm in,
God,
You're in east. You're as east as you can go, or as central east, wherever the fuck
No, 'cause
you
this
want. I don't
matters.
care.
That's why I'm like,
Whatever
it
you
has
think
to
it'll be.
Okay, yeah, if it was in my side of where I was raised, where I was blood born, then yeah, I would be a 10. But if I was in
You'd be
America,
10 where?
where I was blood.
Where were you born?
Where's that?
Well, I'm Egyptian. We're full blood Egyptian.
You think it'd be a 10 in Egypt?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I already know that.
All right. And so then,
So all 1,000 men would hold up a sign saying
Yes,
10.
yes, 100%.
Oh, okay.
and then.
And now I just want you to look at me and say, Andrew, I just want these words. Can you look right in the camera? Just look at the camera. Whatever camera's the closest to you, look right at it and say,
Right here.
Andrew, I'm not delusional.
This camera.
Every man in Egypt would say I'm a 10.
I wouldn't. No, I'm not saying that because that's not. See, your words are very manipulative. You just said
Oh, no, they're
1,000.
not. If it's
then
a
you just
1,000 out
said,
of 1,000,
every man.
you could.
But yeah, I
you
would
could
think that I would
never
love
have
to
a
think.
sample size higher than 1,000
I would
out
love
of
to
1,000
think that
saying
I would
something.
love to think that every man in Egypt finds me beautiful. Yes, I would love to think that. That is
Well,
my opinion
my question
on
isn't what
myself.
you'd like to think. My question is what you actually think.
That is what I think.
Your question is
what I like to think is what I think.
It's not even valid.
It's
Like,
about my
we don't
self-love
know-
and how I
isn't my
perceive
question
myself.
valid?
Because how are we supposed to know what other men think? I'm a woman. I don't have the mind
Well,
of a
I'm
man.
not.
I don't
I'm not
know.
asking you to know what
You
they
are
think.
asking me. You're asking me to. How would they judge me? How am I supposed to know?
Yeah, I'm just asking what you think they would guess.
I don't know. Whatever they guess. Like, you know what I mean? It's an invalid
Okay.
question.
I'll take
It's
a
an
crack.
invalid question. Okay, hang on. I got it. It's an invalid question. If a bird hit that window doing 1,000 miles an hour, what do you think would happen?
They would die.
Oh, wait. Suddenly, when it comes to a hypothetical, you can, even though it hasn't happened, you don't know exactly what would
injured.
happen. You can somehow make a guess as to what would happen. But in this case, your brain, it just is empty. You have no idea what they'd ever say.
You're hurting my brain.
Yeah, I'm sure. And every Egyptian man would agree with me.
No, they wouldn't.
I don't even think we should grant this,
No, they wouldn't.
this geographical move. You guys currently reside in the United States, so what would men,
In the United
a
States.
cross section of men,
I
who
think
live
I
in
would
the
be,
United
and I
States-
think I would be at 8 to 9. 9. I would say 9 in my.
9. Okay,
Yeah,
what about
9
you?
for me.
You
Yeah,
guys
I
are
would say the
twins,
same.
so
I would say the same
okay, yeah.
answer. Yeah.
9. Okay. So still 10, 9, 9. Somebody gonna tell him? Somebody tell him? Madison, you want to tell him? Morgan, you want to tell him?
So it would actually, I just want to let you know that what you're saying is that you think 1,000 out of 1,000 men would essentially vote 9 or 10 or 8 for every single one of you to the point that you would average out to a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
This
I think
would
that
put
everyone
you
in
at
this
the
table.
highest, hang on, this would put you at the highest beauty standards of the entirety of planet Earth, the highest possible beauty standards. So that you
Yeah.
understand what that means,
Yes.
every single woman who has come on this podcast has given a similar answer to that, which means that either A, Brian Atlas only books the most beautiful women in the world
True.
to come on whatever,
Hottest chicks.
or the more likely possibility, if, for instance, if I were to ask you this question, you two twins in the back, and I'll let you both answer. If you right now
You just
had
said
to
it like
make
I'm
a
in trouble.
gamble, hang on, had to make a gamble, and if you were wrong on the gamble, you instantly drop dead. That was the consequence of the
That's
gamble.
fine.
If you had to either gamble, A, that Brian Atlas brings the most beautiful women on the podcast ever,
That's true.
or B, that the women who mostly come on the podcast are delusional when it comes to self-ratings, which way would you gamble?
I would not gamble because it's haram, first of all.
Yeah, I know, but you
You're
had
asking me
to.
the wrong. You're asking mom.
If
You're
you
asking the wrong person.
If
so
you
I'm sorry.
had to.
Yeah, I know,
I can't. It's
know.
against my
but
religion.
Hey, you know what's not haram?
Yeah.
A hypothetical. So engage in the
Okay, I'm
hypothetical.
so sorry.
Okay, I just don't understand why do you want us to look at ourselves lower?
No.
Yeah, I know.
Hold
Just
on.
answer the question.
Why?
Hold on.
I don't get
You can't
that.
weasel answer his question.
I just don't understand.
I'm more than happy to be humbled by saying I'm a 1. I would say that I could be a 1. I'd be
Yeah, I
happy
know.
with that
Can you
answer.
answer my question?
Yeah, answer the actual question.
Wait, what was the question?
The question is, if you had to gamble and the stakes were your life, would you either gamble A, that Brian Atlas brings the most beautiful women in the world on his podcast and fills the entire podcast with them, or B, that most of the women who come on the podcast are delusional
A.
when it comes to their
A.
self-rating?
A,
Hang on,
because-
hang
yeah,
on.
A.
You didn't even hear the second part of the
know, the
question.
Yeah, I
question-
heard. I
Or you will
remembered.
die,
Or you will
something like
How can
die.
you answer before you even heard the
Because I
second
know the
part
answer.
of the
That
question?
I know the answer. It's not delusion. You shouldn't feel like a woman who self-love or whatever thinks that
think
everyone
they're
here is beautiful is delusional. That's self-hate.
That's not what it is.
trying to spread hate.
The
What is it?
question
Then
is
what
not
is
whether or not you shouldn't have a high estimate or a high estimate of your own looks. The question is diverting to the gaze of males and whether or not men would judge you the same way you judge yourself.
That question is
Your
invalid.
hang on. Your answer is yes, they would. And so my question becomes, if that is so, and every single woman who comes on this podcast gives a similar answer, then that would be conceding that Brian Atlas just has the most
Yes.
beautiful women on his podcast.
Yes, and then that audience would agree by placebo effect. Placebo effect. Because when everyone is like, oh wow, like I'm so
placebo
beautiful,
effect.
they think that they're very beautiful up in here. Like all the people
Do
here.
you
that,
realize that the
Favorite kind of
placebo
gazebo.
effect would indicate that you were wrong? The placebo
wouldn't.
effect is saying there is no actual consequence here, but it's make believe and all in your head.
heads, yes,
the placebo
that's what I'm
effect
saying.
is a delusion. Do you realize that?
He got you.
Wait, what?
He's right.
The placebo effect is a delusion.
It's yeah.
But that's not what I feel like
Yeah,
she was trying
you
to
say
say.
No,
it's
I'm saying
delusional.
the people watching. I didn't say the women. I said it's the placebo effect on the
Oh, you
people.
said- you
You're
said
not
women.
listening to my goddamn statement. You're just sitting up here
come on,
talking
you
so
said the
damn much. You're
women,
not
it
even
would be the
listening.
placebo effect.
I just said there's a placebo effect on the audience, not the people
Women
on here.
themselves.
You're just
Oh, it's not the.
you're
it's not,
delusional. You're delusional.
So do you think that the women, all of the women who come on the whatever podcast, just happen to be the most beautiful women in the whole world, or do you think that they might have a slightly higher estimation of themselves than the general public would?
I would like to see a woman be self-confident in herself, and I would
What does
not
it have
like
to do with confidence?
because
Not
it,
question.
because
How are
view
you going to
yourself.
say that
You look in
they
the
are
mirror,
naturally attractive? That's on your
You look in the
opinion.
mirror and you
That's
think
your
you're a one?
opinion.
Like, no.
Based on how you were raised, based off of your programming, your programming is telling me that I am beautiful to you off of 1 to 10. Why do I give a damn? I don't. So why would
Well, you
I
don't,
think
but
in
that's
the
not the
way of a
question.
man? I'm
Yeah,
not going
yeah,
to think
I
in a
know.
way
Can
of a
you answer
man.
the question?
That's why the question is not. It's like
Nobody
it's just
gives
to
a shit about
debunk
the
because
diatribes.
we
Just
are
answer
not
the
men.
question.
How will we know that?
yeah, we
So
don't
we can
know.
only give our estimated guess based off of ourselves, based off of a woman's standpoint.
think
All
of
right, hang
myself.
on. I get it now. Due to the fact that leprechauns and unicorns mate in the sky and there's rainbows underneath Skittles on top of hills which exist within ants who are chocolate covered, leflipidoos are often green.
Well, I'm just
Can
going
you
based
answer the
off of my
fucking
life
question I
experience,
asked,
to be
Or are you
honest.
going to keep obfuscating into shit that I don't care about? My question is, does Brian Atlas bring on the most beautiful women in the world?
Yes, I already said the
Or,
answer.
Alternatively, do they have a higher estimation of themselves than they actually believe that they do? That's my question.
Number one.
Answer the question.
Number one, I answered it. I circled it 3 times.
No,
A.
you didn't. What you did was you said that
your mic
unicorns
down.
live underground with gophers and sometimes they wear green hats.
Well,
Nobody
you're
gives a
just
shit. Answer
delusional,
the
so that's why
question.
you're mad that you want me to join your delusional.
Answer the
I
question.
did.
You didn't. Saying that you answered the question doesn't mean you answered it. It just means that you're full of shit. Answer the question.
And I'm full of shit.
Wait, Andrew, isn't a component of the question under threat of death? So,
Yes.
like, they would die, basically.
No, they're what's going on is they actually haven't answered the question. They've gone out of their way to do everything but answer it. So I'm going to ask one more time. This time, just
You don't
give
have
me
to.
the
You know what?
direct-
I'll just give you what you
I
want.
just want-
I'm gonna give
okay,
you what
yeah,
you
yeah, give me
want.
the direct question.
We are saying what we think is our higher self, whatever you want to say. That's my answer.
What? And if your higher self were to not map onto reality, but you thought it would have a better effect
Well, I do
on
think I'm a 10,
society-
so
Hang
why
on,
should I
hang
say
on,
that I'm
stop.
not?
Let me ask the question. If you were to think that whatever the higher self of people was, even if it was a lie, but it had a better effect, would you still recommend that people go with their higher self?
Yes.
Then
Why wouldn't
you have
would
just
you?
stated
Would
that
you?
there's no reason
Would you?
to ever believe you when you say your higher self, ever.
Would you? Would you go with your lower self or your higher self?
I would go with reality.
Which is what?
Which is what?
Reality
What do
would
women
be
rate you?
some type of, in this particular case, inside the context of the question, the objective reality
What do
of
you rate me?
If I were to take, stop, I'm answering the question. If I were to take 1,000 women and they were to all rate me based on Western standards of beauty, I think that collectively they would come up with something pretty close to a
Can we
4.
rate you?
Sure, go ahead.
Wait, can it be a table thing? Because I don't want to be the only one.
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, here you go.
Should we start?
And you know what I'll do?
You get to
Let
go
me see what
first.
happens if I average
I would
this.
really say that you're like a 7. Like you're giving like Prince vibes. Like you
I
just
would
grew
say you're a
up.
liar, but no, just physical beauty.
Yeah,
Physical
I'm
beauty.
talking about physical beauty.
Only.
You look like a 7. You look like
You've
you're
never heard me say a
you look
word.
like you
I'm
were like
just
a former
walking around.
prince, like somebody that used to be a prince back when he was younger.
Yeah.
Like you're a
Okay.
7. Yeah.
7.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Into the mics, guys.
I feel the
7.
same way. I feel like you have a lot of features that make a prince,
did.
and when I watch certain things, I call certain men a prince. I feel like you would be a prince. I don't know how
European beauty.
old
You know what?
are right
Rate
now,
Brian
but I can
instead. Do
see-
that.
I
Let's see if we get closer to a 5 with Brian. I did not realize that I was regal and walked around with a robe
You're
and had a
Aladdin.
nice scepter. I did not realize that I was princely
look what that
material.
did.
But perhaps Brian
Self-confidence.
is more peasant material. Let's
It's
try
that
Brian.
luscious
instead.
hair and that beard. Come on now.
Exactly. That's
you.
exactly what I mean. Like in your eyes.
It's a 7. It
I
is
think
that.
you have blue eyes. Are
I
your
mean,
eyes blue or am I tripping?
Look at you smiling. Now you're
No,
an
my
8.
eyes-
Stop
my
it,
eyes are blue,
Andrew.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I mean.
All right.
Brian's eyes are also blue, just so you know.
Why are you deflecting? Just accept. Just accept the compliments. You're a 7. Just take it.
Do you know, hang on, you do realize that after hearing so many self-delusional answers from you, there's all of you, there's no actual way for me to believe that any type of fluffing up of the ego, which you are currently attempting in order to obfuscate from questions, means that it is in any way based in the reality of what you actually think. It can't be so, because when I ask you what you think of yourselves, the answers are clearly so fucking delusional, I don't believe you believe it.
I believe it. Put me in a lie detector. Put me in a motherfucking lie detector. Then ask me that dang question again.
But you're a preference.
All right,
Preference-wise,
I'll
you're a
tangle.
7.
All right.
I'll tangle on this for a little bit, Andrew. I'll take the reins. So, a couple questions here. Do you think all women are 10s?
Not every woman, but yeah, I think that like a majority of people here today are 10s.
The majority of women here are 10s.
Yes.
Why don't you guys just scoot into the table so you don't have to?
Yes, sorry.
Be,
I'm trying.
All right.
Sorry.
So, what about just women in general?
I feel like
Yes.
everyone has beauty to them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everyone has like something beautiful about them that no one else can
So, do
really
you think,
have.
since you're saying all the women here are 10s, you're just in terms of looks, you're not better looking than any of the women here?
No.
Everyone here is just equal in looks.
I didn't say equal, but they all have something that's, I would say, that's more, in
Yeah,
my
they're
opinion, more
different. Yes,
beautiful
they
than the other,
look
and more
different.
different.
They
Yeah.
look different, but in terms of their Burmese, thank you for the gifted 20. In terms of their,
No one's equal. They all have different
yeah,
unique
there's
features.
yeah, some people have blue
physically.
eyes, some people have blonde hair. We get that, but there could be a blonde who's a 10, a brunette who's a 10, and a blonde who's a 7, and a brunette who's a 7.
Okay.
And
Okay.
even in that 7, even the one
But so
that's a
everyone
7.
here is just comparable in terms of their physical attractiveness.
Yeah, I would say it's in the high 8
Okay.
and 10s. Like everyone here has have a very beautiful thing about them.
Everyone's
physically.
in the what?
They have everybody, majority of people here have very beautiful physical features.
Okay. Are you the most attractive girl here, or
No.
just everybody's just equal?
It's not equal. It's just everyone has different
own unique features.
Yeah, I know
that
they're
make them
unique,
that.
but, like-
and I wouldn't say that could equate to that. Like, there's no equality towards beauty.
And she's
It's,
not
like,
saying
different.
like, oh, I'm more beautiful than everyone else here. She's saying that everyone has their own
Right.
beauty.
Okay,
and I
couple
have my own
questions.
beauty.
Like, there's
So
different.
you kind of reject this, the hierarchy of appearance, then?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
This is not me.
Would you? Do you guys have a height preference?
Wait, am I going on a date with somebody here?
No, just answer the question. Do you have a height preference? How tall are you?
No, I don't have a height
You
preference.
don't care. How tall are you?
I'm 5'6".
And I'm assuming you're 5'6" too, given the
she's
twin.
5'5" and a half.
5'5" and a
Yeah.
half. She's an inch taller.
Okay, so you're 5'6". Do you have a height preference when it comes to men?
Yeah, I prefer tall men,
Mm.
taller men.
Okay, so what are we talking here? What's the minimum?
6'1".
6'1". Okay, so that puts men. That's about I believe they have to be in the 10th percentile to that's the top 10% of height to be 6'1". You've not had a relationship, is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay. Of the men that you've dated, even short term, what was the last guy you dated? How tall was he?
6'2".
What about the guy before that?
5'8".
What about the guy before that?
None.
Just the two guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so 6'2", 5'8". All right. And then what about you? Last guy you dated?
Yeah, I would say he was 6'3".
6'3". Okay,
Yeah.
so it's interestingly enough, even though, well, so you guys do care about height then?
Not necessarily, but if it comes with it, then hey,
It's
I'm
something
not.
Yeah. Would you date a guy who's shorter than you?
I don't know. It just depends on who he is, his character.
Yeah, I don't really know. It depends on character as well.
Yeah.
Would he have to make up for it?
No, the thing is, like, I wouldn't really, like, height is not a big thing to me. It's more
You don't
like
care
if
at
I'm
all?
if the energy, the vibe, and everything that it's
Sure,
morally
let's assume
standing.
the
like,
energy's, the vibe
everything's
is good.
perfect, then yeah. If everything's going
No,
well,
not perfect. Not perfect.
Not
It's just
perfect, but
good.
aligning, like
it's just good.
If you're aligning with me, then yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, maybe you would date a 5'5" billionaire who's like got a huge PP and his face is perfect and he's the sweetest guy ever. Maybe you'll accept dating a short guy then, but I'm just saying, would you date like a normal guy who's 5'5"?
Yeah, if it's still,
Okay.
if we're aligned mentally, physically, like we like to do the same things spiritually,
Okay.
like I'm just
but
saying aligned.
conveniently,
Based off physicality, no. Because if that's solely based off physicality, but that's not even
right.
something I would do.
So but then you don't have a height preference then.
No,
I thought,
I don't.
didn't you just say you do though?
You asked.
I said
You
said that
prefer,
I would
yes,
after
you
experiencing
prefer.
a taller guy. Yeah, it's just nicer.
you do
It's
have
a
a
little bit more
preference.
submissive. No,
It's more submissive.
for me.
Okay, so you are rank ordering men based on their physical appearance.
No, because
Yes.
I was with somebody that was basically the same height as me.
5'8".
Yeah.
That's 1 inch off of the average.
But my
male height.
hair,
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm 5'8". With this hair, I'm up
Okay.
here. We're the same height.
All right, and then what about? Are there any other physical, like you date an obese guy
No.
No?
If you don't, yeah, I would not date an obese guy.
because of how it looks?
No, because it's just like there's just it's kind of haram in my religion to be obese because it's like you have to love
Take care
life,
of your
love
body,
life,
take
take
care
care
of
of your
yourself.
body, take care of yourself. If you're not taking care of yourself, if you're naturally just a chubby person, that's fine. But if you're obese, that's another thing. That's another thing.
Okay. Have you ever known a girl who? You've maybe heard of this phenomenon of like a good-looking girl who's dating like a guy who's kind of mid.
Yeah, an ugly
Yeah, that's
guy.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But why? So why are you able to make a determination as to a guy's physical appearance, but you can't make a determination as to women's physical
Because
appearance?
I see women differently than I see men.
Why? How do you see women differently than you see men?
I don't look at women's physicality
So you
and men's
objectify
physical.
men, but you don't objectify.
I never objectified a man.
Isn't that exactly what you're doing?
What am
You're-
I doing?
You're objectifying
I
them
never
based
said.
on their appearance.
What did I say? That was objectifying the man off his appearance.
You said, I don't treat women X way, but I
No,
do
I
treat
don't
men
view
this way.
women how she views men.
Yeah.
When she looks at
I
a
didn't
woman,
say treat.
she notices her beauty.
Okay, then
versus a
disregard the
man.
objectify comment. How are you able to make determinations as to physical appearance when it comes to men, but not women?
Because I see women differently.
How do you see them
I
differently?
don't see this. I don't see her as someone I'm going to marry. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? I'm not.
So
lesbian.
even if people your own sex, you can't make any determinations as to somebody's like maybe you can't
It's just
precisely.
not as serious to me when it comes to a woman. I just appreciate her beauty. I'm not going to sit here and really examine her because she's not someone I'm going to have kids with. I'm not.
So
gay.
if you were a talent agent for a modeling agency and knowing that modeling, typically, not always, but typically tends to prefer to have people who are physically attractive and good looking, you would just be incapable.
I've seen a lot of
let me
Asian
finish.
models that
You
are
would just be incapable of making any determinations as to women's physical appearance.
I actually disagree with you. Modeling agencies
What do you
not.
disagree?
Modeling
What does
agencies
that have
look for
anything-
different people that look different. You don't have to be physically attractive. If you look different, they want you. You don't have to be beautiful. You could look so crazy to other people, and everyone could bully you and say that you're ugly as hell your whole time.
It's
but you got signed.
2005, and it's
got
fucking.
signed.
You work for Abercrombie and Fitch or whatever the
They're
fuck that
racist. I don't
company
even
was.
debunk them.
Who cares? You work for that company. It's 2005, before all this woke bullshit about like putting obese models out there. So okay, so you're the talent scout for this company.
Mm-hmm.
And your job is to find attractive people. You would be incapable of making determinations
No, I
as to a
am.
woman's physical
I am.
appearance.
I am.
Okay. So then how is it that you view men and women differently in this regard?
I'm just saying that, like, with a woman's beauty, it's just more, it's just different. Women have more beauty in this life than a man. Like, there's more attractive women than attractive men, in my personal opinion. Like, that's what I believe.
It's like the body, it's the face.
There's
the
more
features.
to notice about a woman and check mark versus a man. It's
What
like
does
a
that
woman has
have
way
to
more
do with
detail.
it?
A man
can
has a
be
lot to do with it because
scrawny
her
and
body,
skinny.
her
He can
physicality is
have the most
completely
beautiful
different
girl.
than a man's physicality.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What's
He
not
doesn't
making
have
sense?
to be fit. He doesn't have to be fit to have a beautiful
Okay,
girl.
so just to be clear, all women should view themselves as 10s, but not all men should view themselves as 10s.
I didn't say that. The men should, men
Even a
and
guy,
women should see
a guy
themselves
who's
for
mid,
what they truly
should
believe.
Should a guy who is mid think he's a 10?
Guys who are mid do think they're 10s.
No, that's not the question. Should they think they're 10?
They already do, so it
No,
doesn't
they
make a
don't.
difference what I say.
No, they don't.
They do.
Wait, do you guys agree?
They
Is this just a one thing? Like, is this just us?
No, it's not one
Hold
thing.
on.
I do have one quick follow-up question before we move on. And this is specifically to you, Italia. Just a very simple question. Can you get very close to the mic so I can actually hear your answer? Okay. How would you feel if you didn't eat breakfast this morning?
Sassy.
Okay. And then over to your twin, how would you feel if you didn't eat breakfast this morning?
I would say just weak, like Aggie. Ugh.
Okay.
Okay, the voice don't need it. Okay. I didn't have it.
Also fair.
So, I'm trying. Where did
What
I?
type of question was that?
Where did I? Oh, okay. So
It's a dumbass meme. It's just fun to do every once in a while for no particularly good reason. There are people who have trouble engaging in hypotheticals. This meme, which by the way means nothing. There's no scientific backing. Total meme. But it is interesting many times when I engage with people who can't engage in hypotheticals. If I ask them, how would you feel if you hadn't eaten breakfast this morning? What they end up saying is, but I did eat breakfast this morning, which is, that's what the meme claims
So I passed the
they
test.
would say. No, you didn't say that.
Oh, so wait, so I passed though. That means I'm not delusional?
Yes.
Oh,
Well,
great.
no. It means
Thank
you can engage
No, you
in
just
a
said it. You
hypothetical.
just said it. I didn't hear you more.
No,
You said it. You said it.
stop.
It's okay.
It means you can engage in a hypothetical, but you're still fucking delusional. I mean, this whole take is completely delusional. It makes no sense whatsoever.
So we were talking about mid dudes thinking they're 10s.
I feel like everyone would agree with that.
Would anyone like to chime
that a
in? Does
thing?
anyone want to chime in?
Yeah.
this
So,
conversation?
so you think that that's wrong, right? You don't think that's wrong?
Shoot, I don't know.
You don't think it's wrong?
What's wrong if a mid guy thinks he's a 10?
I don't think that's wrong. Like, what's wrong with that?
Do you think it would indicate perhaps a lack of modesty or self-awareness?
He probably thinks he's a 10 not because based off of his looks.
Okay, but it's
He's probably like,
about
oh, I'm a
looks.
10 because I got money.
Okay, it's about looks. If
I
a
don't
guy who
know.
was mid physically, and he was like, my looks, I'm a 10 out of 10 looks.
And he just has I feel like that's just confidence.
How is it
Okay,
confidence?
let's say he has abs. Let's say he's 6 foot, but let's say he has a really big nose. Why should he think that really big nose is ugly?
Hey,
Why should he think that makes him?
hey, that's mean.
How? No, I'm literally saying like
I
people
didn't say
get
anything
nose
about
surgery
your
because they
nose.
don't like their nose. So I'm trying to use something that's insecure point in the face, which is the nose and the
Yeah.
lips. So I'm trying to use this point by saying, why should he feel like his nose is ugly because the community or society will say big noses are ugly?
Well,
So it's all about-
I
it's
can
all about
actually-
mindset,
I'll
like-
answer your question. I think it's a fair question. I think it's because beauty standards are derived from your locality and from other people.
That's
Your
not.
perspective on beauty. So here, I'll explain. Assume for a second that you grew up in a leper colony and everybody had leprosy. If everybody had leprosy and you had nothing else to compare it to, you might consider some lepers to be beautiful. But let's assume for a second instead that you grew up in a place where there was no lepers and suddenly you saw one for the first time. Go ahead and lie to me and tell me that you wouldn't go, holy fuck, oh God, that's because
Well,
that
why
would
would
be
you
your
think
reaction.
Why would
right?
you think it's ugly? Why would you be like, oh wow, that's so interesting? Like I'd never seen that before.
Because
Intriguing. It's all about
because if
perception
you-
of
for
what
the
you
same,
think of
for the same
different
reason I'm
is.
not delusional enough to believe that you for a second would go, oh, half your face was melted off and your tongue is hanging out this side and I can see your entire jaw and your eye also has been plucked out and you look like the dude from Hellraiser except missing half your face. I think that you're a 10. Come on. Really?
She didn't say that.
I didn't say
She's
that.
never
You,
said
I hate that
Yeah,
you guys
but
like.
that's why. But that's
misuse what
why
I'm saying.
people would say no. That you don't adhere to the beauty standard. That's why they would do that.
Okay, well that's them. Like that's nothing to do with
Yeah.
us.
So people might think the guy with the big nose is mid because he has a big nose.
All right.
That's all based off society, like what you just said. It's just perception.
So going around the table, do you think you're going to be more physically attractive, better looking in 10 years' time as compared to now?
No. Definitely.
What about 20 years' time?
Of course.
So you're 20 now.
I'm 20.
So yes to 30, yes to 40.
Yes.
50, 30 years' time.
J-Lo.
50, yes. I stop at 70 because I've seen what my family looks like if they make it to 70.
So you'll be more physically attractive at 40 than you are now at 20.
At 30, I believe I will, but I
No,
didn't
no,
say
no.
I would be more physically attractive at 40. I said I would still think I'm a 10.
Okay, so fine. You can still think you'll be a 10 at 40, but comparatively speaking, do you think you will be more physically attractive at 30 than you are now at 20?
Yes.
Okay, 40 then versus 20.
40, no. I think
But
30
40 to
would
30.
be I think 30 would be the greatest one. Like that, I feel like I would like my looks most at 30. I feel like my brain and my body would be fully developed, and I would like that one.
Okay, so but not at 40 then.
I think I would still be beautiful,
That's not what
more
I'm asking.
beautiful.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What about you? Will you be more physically attractive in 10 years than you are now?
I would hope so, but
Well, you're 40 now, so will you be more physically attractive at 50?
I'm definitely a lot more attractive than when I was in my 30s.
So you okay? That's another question. Are you more attractive now at 40 than you were at 30?
I feel like, yeah, because with all the surgeries that I had going on, I didn't really work. I worked out on and off, but my face has stayed the same. I think the body has fluctuated up and down, but I love my face, and like I'm seasoned more so now than I was.
Do you think you were you're more physically attractive now than you were at 20?
No, I like my body a lot more 20s.
Okay. All right. And you said in 10 years, yes to 50.
I would hope so,
What about
but-
60?
I mean, realistically, no, but I have a fear of getting old, so I'm like, I keep thinking
Sure.
in my head, I'm still 27,
Yeah.
so we'll
And
see.
also, just going back to you, you're 36. Do you think you're better looking at 26 than you are now at 36?
I feel like I had a very tacky style. I was no, but if I
Well,
had
the
different
style would have been
yeah.
like time appropriate
right
10 years ago,
right.
right?
I mean, so I don't think anybody just because of skin quality. I'm big on skin quality. Unfortunately, I don't think skin quality gets better with age.
Right.
So I think the reality is after 30, things just start changing for the
Sure.
worse.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Brian. I did want to interject just briefly because usually there's a follow-up we have at the ratings. After we get all of your answers, this type of thing, I was wondering, for the 210 twins in the back, and for the rest of the women on the panel, of course, if you were to have the same question directed at you, 1,000 men are rating the girl next to you, what do you think that they would rate them?
A 10.
10.
You're saying it's follow-up. Yeah, I think she's a beautiful woman.
Can you guys just very quickly raise your hands if it's a 10? If you think 1,000 men who were rating the girl next to you, do you
Maybe
think
9.
that they would say it's a 10? Just raise your hand so I know.
Wait, what if it's a 9? Can it be average, like
high
Yeah,
score.
9 or 10.
High score.
9 or
10.
10.
8 to
Either
10.
one's fine.
8 to 10.
Yeah, high
If,
score.
if it's 8 to 10,
Okay, you know what? Even 8 to 10 is fine.
Yeah.
Just raise your hand if it's an 8 for 10. 8 out of 10 that they would rate the woman next to you.
I would rate.
Yeah, okay.
Will you be better looking in 10 years than you are now?
I think that my prime would probably be my 30s. But
So
over
you'll
that,
okay.
like 40s and stuff, I really
Well, you're
don't know.
24, so will you be? Do you think you'll be better looking at 34 than you are now?
Yeah, I do think that.
What about 44?
I would only hope so, but I don't know. I really don't know.
You don't know.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't
Okay,
know.
so for you,
I'm saying no. I don't think so. I think youth
To
is
34?
more beautiful. Yeah.
Wait. So,
Well, I just think youth in general is more beautiful. Like
okay,
the
so you're
younger
better
you are.
looking now
Yeah,
at
the younger
24 than you
are,
will be at 34.
I'm also about skin, like she said.
Okay.
Skin.
And then for you, better looking at 29 versus now at 19.
No.
No? Okay. And then for you, better looking at 32 as compared to now at 22.
Better looking now.
Okay. What about you? Better looking at 37 versus 27.
Better looking now.
Liz, better looking at 35 versus 25.
Better looking now.
Okay. All right. So a couple of you said yes, better looking in 10 years. Thought that was an interesting one. Little out there, but
I did have a brief question. I was just wondering to the gal who has Italia on the shirt. Can you just tell me your favorite song?
I don't have one.
If you had to pick one.
I don't want to be put on the spot. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, how about your top two?
What?
Just name a song you really like.
Oh, I feel I can't think. Right
Just
now.
any song you really like.
I do like Spanish music. I like Bala de la Sol by Peso Pluma. That's my side
And what?
man, you know.
And what about your twin?
I think her favorite song would probably, I don't know.
It's an Arabic song.
What is it? Oh, what is it? I know.
I don't know the name. I just know the song on SoundCloud.
No. Isn't listening to music haram?
Like I just, not in this, like, music is haram. Yes, music is
Isn't listening to
haram.
music haram?
Music is haram, but there's no choice but to hear music.
There's
Everywhere
no
you
choice,
go.
really.
When you're out on the street, there is music being played. Everywhere you go, there's music. There's
no, I want to say
escaping
this.
that.
When it comes to haram and halal in this modern day and age, because we're not living in the 18th century, it's if someone listens to more music than they do holy verses, then that would be considered haram.
Yeah. It's not the same. It's
I
not
see.
The same. We have iPhones.
So I just want to make sure you guys would never lie to me, right? You don't listen to
need to lie to you.
music, right?
I don't care who judges me. I don't have to be perfect. Islam isn't about
No, hey,
I
that's
have
fine.
to be a
I
perfect
just want to
Muslim.
make
No,
sure
I just
I'm
have to be the
correct.
best I
just
can.
want to make sure I'm correct. You're not doing haram and listening to music, right?
I wouldn't say so because I would say I would have an equal amount of like I listen to.
But I do say music is not like the best of things. But I would
I
say
listen to
I would
more
honestly I
verses
can't
than
say
music.
that because I would just say like I personally I do listen to music. Who
Yeah.
doesn't listen to music? But I don't listen to it frequently. I don't listen to it frequently.
Every day we would play a verse of the Quran. Every day that's being played. Music.
Yeah,
not
but you're
every-
When I
like,
go
but
out,
do you-
I'll
do
listen to
you-
music.
do you
I don't
bump-
listen to music when
do
I'm
you
at
bump
home.
it in your apartment? Come on, do you bump it?
No,
Are
but
you
when I go
having a good
outside, I do
time
listen to music in the
those
car.
tunes?
Like I do listen to music, but in my tradition, how I was raised, I never listened to music in the home. So I don't
in the
practice
home,
that.
yeah, in the home, it's like a
I got to move it
sanctuary
on
piece.
from this.
All right. I was just wondering.
want to move on.
But music is haram, right? I just want to make sure that's clear. It is haram.
He's so annoying.
Oh, am I?
Yes.
Is it awful that you have to confront your own
I'm
cognitive
totally
dissonance?
fine
Is music
with
haram?
saying that.
No, I wouldn't say so. Not in this modern day and age.
Yes,
Depends-
I would say it is haram, but
it
to a
depends
degree.
on how
Yeah, and
much
she
you
would say it
listen
is
to
haram.
it.
Can you guys even agree on if it's haram or not?
I would say to a degree. It's haram,
To a
but
degree.
I think I overall said that her first answer was what I agree with.
I feel like
Okay.
I've yet to hear a yes or no from you two.
Because the questions aren't
Well,
based
that's
off of
an
yes or no.
impossibility, seemingly.
See, they out to get us. You can't just say yes or no.
Okay, so to kind of wrap it up here on the whole like rating yourself thing. So I actually think it's more important for women to have a accurate self-assessment of their own physical attractiveness as compared to men, something we talk about almost every single show. And here's the reason why. So if I'm a man and I'm delusional and I think I'm a 10 and I step to a girl who's a 10, I'm getting rejected every single time. If I step to a girl, like the way men get rejected is up front immediately. I can't, like if I step to a girl who's frankly out of my league, I'm cut off of everything. I can't get anything from her. I can't get a date. I can't get a conversation. I certainly can't get casual sex. Now, with bringing up casual sex, I think you might know where I'm about to lead to. You as women can secure casual sex from men who are outside of your league, whether that's status, whether that's looks, whether that's personality. You guys can sleep with men who are outside of your league. They'll never give you commitment. And that's precisely why it's more important for women to be based in reality when it comes to their looks than men, although it ultimately doesn't matter, because even if a man is delusional, he's just going to get curved and rejected by girls who are out of his league. So what ends up happening is you think your league is the men you sleep with. That's actually not true. Your league as women is the men that you can get commitment from and that you can get a ring from. That's your league. So an average 19-year-old chick who's just good looking can fuck a famous rapper, an athlete. Doesn't mean you can get commitment. Doesn't mean you can get commitment. The difference here is that as a man, if I can sleep with a girl, there's a very good chance I can get her in a relationship. I can't say the same thing about women. Just because you can sleep with a guy doesn't mean you can get him into a relationship. So that's why I think it's important to be like, am I fucking with a guy outside my league? If I think I'm a 10, because you'll think you're entitled to a relationship with a guy who's out of your league, but really he's just using you, which I object to. I don't think that's right. But you got to move in the world how it is. And the way it is you're going to have hyper attractive guys who just want sex from you. And if that's the current dating meta, and you think you're hot shit, you think you're a 10, you think you're a baddie, but you can't get commitment from all these dudes, could be that you're shooting outside of your league and you're curving the dudes who are actually on your level, who'd be prepared to give you commitment, who'd be loyal, who'd treat you well. And that's why you end up hearing all these women complaining about all these fuck boys. They just want to fuck. They don't want commitment. There's probably dudes who'd be prepared to commit to you. You just think you're just curving them because you think I'm fucking this guy who's this attractive. This other guy over here wants to give me commitment. But I'm not attracted to him because I can fuck this guy who's really attractive who won't give me commitment.
Don't ever bring no sewer rat Arabs on here again.
Oh, bro, I gotta skip this. Bro, come on. Mike Davis, you can't say that, bro. Okay. Thank you, Mike Davis. Appreciate it, bro. That was a good call there, Nick, too.
Might I extend to Mr. Davis, though, that I do appreciate the $200 dono and completely agree with you, but you can't play the super chat. TOS.
Okay. Burmese Mountain Tiger, thank you for the gifted 20 subs. Appreciate it, though. I mean, Mike Davis, I appreciate your patronage. Just we got to be careful with TOS here, man. Okay, cool. So where was I? I think I pretty much made my point, but yeah. I guess just newsflash, really attractive fuckboys will sleep with average mid girls, and average mid girls think, that's my league. Think, I can get that guy, and they'll just keep falling from dick to dick to dick, thinking they can get that guy in a relationship, but they can't. And then the guys who are actually in their league, in their level, y'all just curving these dudes who like are in your league and who are prepared to commit to you, give you, etc. So, Burmese Mountain Tiger, thank you for the gifted 20 subs. Appreciate it, bro. Do you guys disagree? I don't know. Maybe so you guys disagree. No, women don't fuck dudes outside of their league. Never happens. No, average mid girls don't have access to like famous rappers and musicians. Like I'm telling you, famous women don't ever fuck with it happens rarely, but like they're usually dealing with like guys on their level.
But what makes you feel so confident? Like, who are you to say that to a woman? What do you mean? You're going based off of physicality again and again.
What he's saying is facts. Like, women can always get sex. It doesn't matter.
Like, that part is correct, but not the part that actually has to do with physicality. He's saying, a handsome guy is not gonna get with a girl that's physically ugly. I see so many rich, handsome men end up marrying a woman that's not even as physically attractive to him. She's like not even at that level. She's just like a cute, normal, regular girl.
So are you advocating that women should
you're advertising that women should you're advertising that women should just stay in their place and not go for the man that they want. And then if you have someone that you want and that they are a righteous man, they're a righteous leader to you, go for it, no matter what he looks like.
Okay, so this is what happens. This is what happens typically. So you have like huge swaths of women who throughout their 20s are chasing after these hyper attractive men. They'll spend their 20s fucking attractive dudes, never getting commitment.
Because
and
why
then,
are you fucking
once
all these
they're
men?
30,
That's why that's what you get.
Once they're 30, oh, okay, let me settle down. And it makes for a terrible marriage because she thinks she's settling, but it's actually a dude in her league. She's going to treat that guy like shit. She's going to resent him.
Her karma.
She wasn't able, it's her karma to ruin a dude's life because she couldn't get the fucking hyper successful dudes who she could fuck in her prime.
Who's the leader in the relationship?
What does that have to do with
her.
anything?
If he's
What
choosing
does
her,
that have to do with anything?
That's his
Oh my God,
karma.
that has nothing to do with anything. Can you finish your thoughts? I want to see where you're going with it.
Well, I sort of got cut off here, but I was basically just responding to her. Like, that's what's happening. Y'all, how is it false knowledge?
Because you're using you're not even using like a statistical basis. You're using your opinionated statements to say that women should only talk to these certain men. If you're going to sleep around, then do this. Like you're going to use and abuse if you're going to go for a hyper attractive male. And I just think that's not a positive thing to say or a factual evident thing to say because there's no evidence basing
There's no
those.
evidence that fuck boys exist.
But that doesn't mean he's hyper attractive.
Hold on.
Who wants a fuck boy? It's all about energy. It's all about everything, not just
all girls complain about fuck boys after they get fucked by them.
But he doesn't mean he's handsome. There's some girls like if she thinks, oh, he's hot, and I'm like, that guy is so ugly.
Yeah, cool.
We don't
you have
the same hyper attractive of what hyper attractive man is.
Yes, sure. People have differences, but like there are some men that like vast swaths of women will tend to agree that those men are really physically attractive. In fact, you're saying this is just opinion. Dating apps have released this data. Women swipe on only like the top 10% of men on those dating apps. So these dating apps where women are basically essentially making assessments almost near exclusively or purely just on looks. And it seems to be the case that
So do you guys agree with him?
Hold on, let me shut up.
Shut
the fuck up and let me finish my point. God damn, you keep fucking interrupting. Holy shit, dude. Okay, so how could it be the case then?
Hey, what's this side convo back there? They're still whispering behind your back. That's mean.
Yeah, in any case, you've been interrupting all night, and it's just you got to let people finish their point. So, okay. How could it be the case then that there's a cohort of men on dating apps that get almost all of the attention on the dating apps and they're running through chicks?
This is just a whatever podcast. Like, you're not saying anything. Like, you're saying
I'm
whatever. All I hear is whatever. Like, it's nothing good. It's just all this bullshit's hurting my brain. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, your high vibrational brain that can't understand facts and logic.
You're not speaking high vibration. You're speaking low vibration.
You're
It's just not
fucking
good.
low vibration.
I said what you're speaking is low vibration.
You just cursed at me. I never even cursed at nobody up in here. So I just didn't
there's
like
more
that.
than one way to be rude to somebody, and you're constant interrupting.
Wait, there was no curse.
It's like
Yeah,
arguing
hang on.
to
Rage
argue.
was a
It's like that's the
specific
thing that's
thing.
getting frustrating. I think we're all tired. None of us have energy because you literally argue to just fucking argue. Like the answer is simple, yes or fucking no, and then you want to argue, and it's like getting tiring because I don't even have the energy to interject because I'm fucking over it. Because like he asks you literally a question and you're like, but this is it's like,
No,
oh
the
my god,
questions
you
that
are
they're
delusional.
asking
For
me is
fuck's
not-
sake, just answer yes or no. Let's keep it on topic and let's fucking have great conversations.
Yeah.
Because none of us want to get involved anymore.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
you guys
agree, but I'm not
literally just talk
arguing to
yourselves over
argue.
here. You are. You literally are.
I'm arguing my point of view.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
I'm
You don't let
stating
them
my point of
finish.
view.
You don't let them finish. Everyone's been respectful. You don't let them finish, and you just want to like literally respond to respond. It's like combative. I hate to say this, but sometimes like
honestly-
our Middle Eastern women are like so combative that it's like you have to prove your point. You don't have to prove your point. It's a conversation. Listen to what he's saying. Half of the time, Andrew's saying exactly what you're fucking saying, but you're not even listening to him.
I
and
am
You're just like
listening.
literally just talking to talk.
That's
a
not
lot
true.
of times
That's not true.
You're talking. I'm still talking.
Because you keep
learn
going,
to listen.
like,
That's
no,
what the
I
fuck
don't
you've been doing
need
all night.
to.
Just learn to listen for a second. As a
I
woman,
learned.
it's nice to shut the fuck up sometimes
Well,
and
you
listen.
aren't even understanding what the
My
hell's going
God.
on. Come on, let's go.
Literally, sometimes it's the power. Huh?
No, it's okay. I'm just not gonna hear you talk.
No,
about
that's
it.
fine. It's exhausting. My God.
You can do what you want. That's why you're in this predicament you're in.
Fuck, it's exhausting to listen to the same shit.
Well, he
Well, why
was
you running?
calling on her multiple times. You kept saying the girl with the Italia or whatever
Yeah, it's because she
shirt.
just wants to argue over
He
nothing.
was
Because none
trying
of
to
us like.
communicate with them. Nobody else was speaking up. That's our own fault.
It's because it's exhausting when it's like the same.
you should
They want to argue. I'm not gonna leave anywhere.
Okay, then
It's
that's
about,
fine. Then
I'm not
leave
even
it
talking to
alone.
you
Then
about
leave
that.
it alone. Then just leave
Leave
it
it alone. Leave it alone. What? They can't have an
can start a
actual
new
conversation.
conversation.
We haven't had a new conversation the
Let's
whole night
start
because they
one
want to
right
have.
now.
We were trying to, but
start
they
one
want to.
right now.
They want to run out. So
Let's
it's
start one
literally
right
simple.
now.
If you want to have a conversation, you listen, you reciprocate, you understand each other's points. It's like just to say because you want to voice out what you want to say. It's like to want to be heard. That's just ridiculous. No, fuck that.
Seats over there. Weren't those chicks your ride, bro?
No, first of all, I drove them here. We slid from Los Angeles, LA,
Oh, she's
Hollywood,
staying.
California.
She's staying.
No, are they really leaving though? Because then I
Nah,
just
they're-
Oh no, they can't leave.
Yeah, dude.
Where are they at?
They walked out, bro. They walked out. Burmese, thank you for the gifted 10 subs.
What? They rage quit?
Yeah, it was a rage quit.
See, that's the thing. Like, that's
Oh,
literally the
what?
childish shit. If you're gonna run your mouth all day and then somebody checks you, you're gonna run out. That's bitch move. Sit down and take it.
Didn't
you
they
want to
call
keep talking
Andrew
and talking
dumb?
and talking.
Didn't they call Andrew dumb
It's just
earlier?
ridiculous. Like, I honestly, I've been falling asleep just listening to it
Wait,
because
no,
I'm like, my
wait.
brain
Are they really
hurts.
leaving though?
You and
Nah,
I
don't
had
even-
eye
God.
contact. We're like,
They're
no,
good.
I'm gonna grab my
You're good,
bag.
bro.
Because I'm like,
You're
Should I
good.
like go
Hey,
check
no,
on them?
No, you're the
like-
power. You have all the leverage and all the power. Yo, Burmese Mountain Tiger, thank you for the
It's
gifted
not about
50
having
subs.
power, though. We
You got
gotta
all the
be-
leverage.
I feel like I just
Oh,
got my
they're chilling, bro.
energy
They went to
back.
go. They went to go get a smoothie.
I literally feel like I just got my
feel like
energy
you
back.
played me right
I know. I'm like, fuck. No, seriously. Here's the thing. Like, I'm all for
Yo,
debate, right?
W's in the chat. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt
Oh
you.
no,
Go
I
ahead.
didn't know who they. I'm saying like I'm all for it. Like I mean I love watching this show and it's like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
debate and back and forth, but like even the ones I've watched, people like women just listen. They don't listen to anything that you say. They just want to talk. It's like you literally
We're
have
here
asked
to
50.
talk.
I get it, but when somebody asks you, you answered like a normal person. He's like, hey, rate yourself, or it's a yes or no question. You simple say yes or no. Well, I don't know.
But
The
that's
fucking
why
sky is blue,
everyone
so I
is
think my
different.
answer might be no.
That's what makes it special,
It is
because we're
special,
all
but here's the thing:
different.
there's topics to be passionate about, and there's you just want to fucking argue about everything. That's exhausting.
Give you an example. Do you think it's harmful to not label people with their correct pronouns?
Yes, but in a
Okay.
different, there are gradations of harm.
Sure, but do you also agree that it would be harmful from somebody who had religious values to not lie to tell them those pronouns?
I would think that that's wrong because I would say that
I'm not asking you that. I'm not asking you if you think it's wrong.
But
I
see,
already know that you think it's wrong. I'm asking from the viewer's perspective, the
Yeah.
person who you're asking to label them. If they think it's a lie, how can you demonstrate it doesn't harm them?
Well, see, I wouldn't use harm as the only frame. I would also use, as you so brilliantly said in your opening, niceness as a frame. I do think there's value to niceness and kindness. And I do think it is unkind to refer to someone in a way that they do not want to be referred to.
Is it kind to ask people to lie?
I don't think it's a lie.
I know, but the other person, we've already ascertained you don't know if anything is true. We've already ascertained that.
Yeah.
So you could never tell a person who said
I do.
me saying to this person over here, giving them the incorrect pronoun harms me. It harms me.
Yeah.
In my mind, it harms me. It harms my psychology or whatever the fuck it is, right?
Yeah.
You have no way that you could ever determine that statement is not true.
The way that you are articulating this debate, and I appreciate it and I understand what you're doing, but it's not the way people walk through the world.
It
People
is.
don't walk- No, it is not.
It is. Then why do you think we're fighting about this all the time? Do you think that people are fighting over pronouns because they just want to be mean? Or do you think that they're fighting over pronouns because they think that they're lying and that there's a truth which we can clearly see as a truth, which is you are trying to mask this truth and pretend it's something other than it is, so they feel like they're compelled to lie. That is how people move through the world.
I think that what's actually happening here is that there is a group of people motivated by political power rather than religious conviction that have stoked fears for people about what pronouns mean.
Fear
which
is harmful. You shouldn't. Here's the thing: if you're going to engage in a behavior which stokes fear, how's that not doing harm?
I think the only reason using pronouns stokes fears is because conservatives with YouTube channels have stoked the fears of people.
Perhaps, but if absent this behavior, they couldn't stoke that fear. Therefore, you're doing them harm because it's a subjective metric. Do you understand? Like, it's a subjective metric. You can't make the demonstration that, oh, it's harmful to us if you don't do it, but at the same time not concede that it's harmful to us if we don't. Like, for me, I'm going to tell you, it's actually harmful to me when you ask me to lie about a person's sex, right?
But also, can I just say, but I would agree with, like, I don't believe the government should compel speech either. So I don't think that this should be, I do think there's room for disagreement on the issue of pronouns. I don't think anybody should be forced by law to use language.
But this is very sneaky, isn't it? Because you still think that people they ought to do it because it reduces harm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but why is it that we need to default to what you think reduces harm instead of the default to the other? So, for instance, there's way more people who don't want to use pronouns than people who do. Way more people who don't.
I would like to see the data on that.
So if that is the case, okay, and it is the case that they don't want to go and use your fucking correct pronouns, right? They just don't want to. But let's assume for a second, right? In fact, we'll just assume I'm wrong, right? But I'm just going to say this for the purpose of demonstration. Let's just say it was like 51%, okay? Yeah. Every time they used a pronoun that they didn't agree was true, that's going to harm them. Why is it that you don't default to them?
The way you're trying to use harm is a very interesting way.
What way should we use harm?
I think that there's a demonstrable harm that's being done. I'm not with.
Well, that's just saying the word as the word. What is harm here?
Can you let me finish for 1 second?
Yeah, but I need you to clarify that. What is harm?
I'm trying to clarify.
All right.
That.
All right.
So I think that there's a distinction between, and I agree, I think one of the problems on the left is that we have melded offense with harm. I don't think that being offended is necessarily being harmed. I don't think feeling disrespected is necessarily being harmed. So
that's all misallocating a pronoun is offensive.
Yeah, I think it's rude. I think it's not loving your neighbor as yourself. I don't.
Yeah, but it's offensive.
Just quickly, fellas, we're going to give it 5 more.
So I don't understand how this.
We'll go into Brandon's.
Yeah, how can this be an ought claim, Brandon? Yeah. That you say that I think that when you're offensive, right, that people shouldn't take offense, but at the same time say that it's rude in some way to not tell a person the truth about what their sex actually is.
So again, my claims are rooted in the person and the faith of Jesus Christ, and therefore I believe loving your neighbor as yourself means referring to them the way that they would like to. Now, I get your point that you think it's lying to them. And to that, I would say you have every right to believe that. That doesn't mean that it's not unkind to speak whatever you believe is true.
Don't you think that it's kind to not lie to people?
I know that you think that, yeah.
Don't you think that?
I don't think it's a lie.
Do you think it's kind to not lie?
Generally, yes, but I don't.
Okay, great. So then if that is okay, well then demonstrate the truthfulness of it.
I think gender is subjective, and I believe that gender identity.
There's no truth.
Well, yeah, I think
if it's subjective, then there's no truth. So all you're saying, so here's what you're actually saying is, based on the conditions of social relativity within the society that I live, this is considered to be a social taboo, and so you should adhere to it because I don't like it. That's it. You're just saying the offense, the risk of offense here is trumped by the risk of offense to me because you just don't like it, Brandon.
I would actually say that there is biblical justification for where my worldview is rooted. And again, we can play in the philosophical space.
Why do we need to use biblical justification when the Bible may not, but it may not be true, Brandon?
I'm a Christian, and I do believe that Jesus's words are true.
Okay, can you demonstrate the truth of your Christianity for me?
Loving my neighbor as myself leads to abundant life, just as Jesus taught. I've witnessed that, experienced that.
Prove it.
I show it in my experience. I think
experience isn't proof. That's anecdote.
I think it is.
Prove it.
Experience is an authority. Yeah,
it's one. Experience is an authority on what?
Yes. This is, the Wesleyan quadrilateral. Experience has always been an authority for Protestants, of course.
Oh, help me out here. If somebody experiences great joy when they're murdering somebody, right? You couldn't trivialize that experience then, right?
I didn't say experience is the authority. I said it's an authority.
Oh, well, what is the authority?
There is no the authority. We have
Well, then you just contradicted yourself. You say experience is not the authority. There is no the authority. So if there is no the authority, you appeal to a authority, which again isn't even true by your own metric.
Is God.
Who engaged in reason, ever engaged in reason, if you walked over to them and said, I'm about to tell you something, but there's a possibility, and it's even a good possibility, it may not be true. I just want you to believe it because I have faith in it. Do you think that any reasonable person who uses reason would ever believe what you said after that?
Yeah, I think billions of people do believe that in various religions around the world.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you if a man of reason, pure reason,
I think
if you went over to him and said to him, I'm about to tell you something that may not be true, that he would say, oh, well, then I should believe that. No, right?
No, I do think so. Yes.
You do think so?
I think that's what faith is about.
Okay. So very quickly, I'll wrap up with this, but so that we can get over to, your attack or whatever. So
I don't have an attack.
Here's a couple of questions I have from the biblical stance. And I'll read this out to you. I would like to know the answer to this. Ephesians 5:22 through 33. This is Paul's prescriptions on marriage, as you know. Okay. Wives, submit yourself to your own husbands as you do the Lord. If two gay men get married, who's the wife?
So you're trying to make a descriptive statement, a prescriptive statement. Paul is writing to a general heterosexual context. He's not addressing same-sex marriage relationships, which did not exist readily in his world, so he had no reason to address them.
Paul was in Rome, and so hang on. Back up. Peter. When you're talking about Peter, you're talking about Paul. These people were dealing with cultures which were inundated with homosexual relationships.
Not marriages.
Yeah, but no, not marriages, but they didn't make a prescription for marriage. So the thing is that, are you just saying that Paul was only applying this to this particular people group and that's it?
Yeah, he was writing a letter to a specific.
So then if that's the case, then prescriptively, this shouldn't actually yield us any fruit for any marriage, ever.
No, I think you're not hearing exactly what I'm saying. Paul was writing that letter to a specific church of which he was the founder and the pastor of. So he's writing about a question that was raised to him. That's what an epistle is a response to.
Sure.
And so someone asked a question about a husband and wife, and he's responding about husbands and wife. If he was asked a question about two men getting married, Paul certainly would have responded, but he was not asked that.
I see. So you don't believe that the idea of marriage is that the man takes the Christ head and the woman represents the body of Christ and the man the head. You don't believe that that's true in marriage?
I don't think that has to be limited to male or female.
Okay, so can you explain how that would work with males? Who would be the Christ head?
I don't think it's precisely how it works with male or female either.
Well, how does it work? You're the authority here. Tell me. No, I'm not interested. I want to know, how does it work?
You're the one using a metaphor used by the Apostle Paul and taking it as an objective.
Now it's a metaphor? I thought you just said it was a descriptive claim that he was making based on the people group of the time.
You're using different verses. Paul can switch between linguistic styles as he's writing, and he does often. So when he starts talking about the head, the male being the head, do you actually think he means that the male is Christ? No.
No, it's a representation of the Christ head, and the woman is a representation of the body of Christ. So if it is the case, Brandon, that he's just silent on this, and this is, by the way, I would say Paul was kind of the authority on how it works with Christian marriage. This is how most Christians model marriage is after Paul. I just want to know, since he didn't give us anything on this, Brandon, what does Brandon think? Who is the representation of the Christ head in a gay marriage, and who's the body?
I think that either person in a male or female relationship could represent Christ or represent the church. Of course.
Okay, so Paul was wrong?
Yeah, Paul's wrong on lots of stuff.
Oh, okay. So you just don't believe that Paul was correct about anything?
He endorsed it. No, I didn't say that. See, how do you jump from that? This is the problem with your side. I say Paul is wrong on some.
Because
Paul is wrong on everything.
Because the thing is that the Bible's self-referencing, and because it's self-referencing, it has to build off of itself, and it has to be coherent Has to
No.
be it has to
Not
be
a coherent
coherent.
book. It's not a coherent book. It's a
If
library.
it's not coherent, there's no reason for us to believe anything that's stated in it.
That's such an absurd argument. It's ridiculous.
That's how any historian would view anything. By the way, why would you?
The Bible is. You don't know what the Bible is.
I'm sorry. Help me out. Help me out here. I'm guessing you don't believe in Exodus, right? There's no actual physical proof that the Jews were ever in Egypt and that they were ever cast out, correct?
No, I think some of the growing historical consensus is that it was probably much smaller than the Exodus.
Well, they don't know. They don't know. The physical proof is extremely scarce, right?
Yes, sure.
Okay, but if you have foundations which are laid, foundations which are laid inside of something, and then one turns out to be false, the rigorism of the text itself should be in question.
But the Bible is not self-referential. It is a library of texts. People didn't know that they were going to be part of one compiled text, especially the New Testament and the Old Testament. And so I think it's completely absurd to try to say that the Bible needs to be univocal. It's not. It was never a book. It's a library of books.
What you're doing again is you're jumping ahead. I need you to address what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, address.
If you had any historical text in which a pillar which it rested upon ended up being false, would it not then be the case that you should question the rest of the historicity of such a text?
No.
No?
No, because I don't think the
How
writer...
does history and verify?
Can I finish? The writer of Exodus was not intending to write history.
Okay, so how would a historian verify the accuracy of a document?
What do you... In relation to Exodus, tell me what you're
In relation to anything, how would a historian verify?
You look for historical, archaeological truth. But that's in a historical text. Exodus is a mythological text, quite clearly.
So Exodus isn't true.
It is mythically true. I believe myths contain great truth.
Yeah, no. But I mean, it didn't happen in reality, in objective reality.
I don't think it did. No.
Okay, gotcha. Didn't it happen in objective reality?
As it's written.
So the thing is, right, is that if we're talking about Paul being wrong, if you say Paul's wrong on X, Y, or Z, right, you're kicking a fundamental pillar out in which the rest of his text should be questioned, because any historic document in which you find that there's things in it which are not true or were wrong or incorrect, the rest of it needs to be questioned, right?
I agree. You should question all of it. That doesn't mean that there's not truth in it. It just means you should be skeptical. You should question, of course.
So you think that the Bible's an all-you-can-eat buffet? Like you just pick what you want and leave the rest behind?
No, I think you use good scholarship, which clearly it doesn't sound like you understand how to do. If you read Genesis 1, for instance, Genesis 1 is a poem. It's a poetic, mythic text. So the fundamentalists who want to claim that it's now a historical, biological text that talks about how the creation of the world and the universe came about, they are misapplying a lens to the text that it was never intended to bear. It doesn't make the text untrue in the lessons it's trying to communicate. It just means it was not intended to be a scientific text, so you're forcing it into something it's not, which then makes it false.
So when we say truth, right, when you say something is mythically true, are you saying that when you close your eyes and you envision a unicorn, right, that the unicorn's true because you're envisioning it, but it's not materially true? Like a unicorn doesn't exist in objective reality, right?
Let me use the metaphor that I would use, which is, because I think this is what we're trying to get at. In the myth of the boy who cried wolf, this is a fable. It is true, and it is not true. I think that is how much of the stories of the Hebrew Bible in particular function. It communicates a moral truth, but the story itself is not true.
Yeah, no. I understand what you're saying. So in material reality, the story itself never happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you think? Well, then this actually, I have a bunch of questions. Then I don't even know if we'll have time to field them all. But let's just start with this. How do you think that the world came to be then?
I think that God created the world.
In 7 days?
No.
How long?
I have no clue, and it's irrelevant to me.
Okay, but he did create it.
I believe that by faith, sure.
Yeah, and is that because he told you that?
No, I believe it by faith.
Just through faith. And so if I said, well, through faith, I don't believe he did that, I'm not wrong?
No, I think you're wrong, but I can't objectively say you're wrong. No.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just leave it there and let you, I want to be fair and give you your chance. So
no, these are good questions, and I appreciate your robust dialogue.
And we might have a chance to get back into it at the end if we get a little bit of time. But how are you guys going? Do you want to take a 1 minute break and go to the toilet or anything like that?
Yeah, I could take a leak real quick.
Yeah, let me do it.
Yeah, all right. We'll take a 1 minute break.
Thanks, everyone.
Can you be sexist against men, starting with you?
Yes. I would say yes, but I would like to elaborate on this. If
Okay,
I
go ahead.
can. I think a lot of the sexism towards men comes from some sort of trauma. Like I myself have like been in that boat in those shoes where it's like I hate men, all of men suck, and that's because I had unresolved things. I love men, but I hate them at the same time. You know.
That's a yikes, but okay. Wait, you love men, but you hate them at the same time.
Yeah, I think a lot of men are losers.
A lot of men are. How so? You mean financially?
No, just like in general. Like if I'm.
Is Nick a loser?
Nick is such a loser.
What the? Nick, are you gonna stand for that? Bro. What about Gustavo?
Gustavo, are you a loser?
Damn. The fuck?
You're a little pathetic little baby loser.
Whoa, she's.
What the fuck did you just say about my boy Gustavo?
The
I
fuck?
asked him if he was.
That's a
I didn't say he
kick
was.
out moment for fucking. You can't insult Gustavo.
Gustavo,
He's
tell
the
me.
best.
Oh, I'm gonna wrestle him later and I'm gonna win.
What the? Hey, yo, it's Rachel Wilson.
No, like, actual,
Gustavo,
like, fighting,
that's
though.
on you, bro.
Look at
I'm
this.
staying out of this one.
We got Rachel Wilson, Andrew's wife in the chat.
That's
Maddie, can you read it?
Andrew is the best husband ever. He's extremely good to me and a very kind person. He is a 10. Sorry to all our haters. Hi, Brian.
Yo, what's up, Rachel? Thank you for the super chat. Just wanted to pull that up there because it was kind of relevant.
That was years of patriarchal brainwashing that got her to believe that. By the
Yeah,
way.
he brainwashed Rachel Wilson. Brainwashed her. And by the way, she has a book, which is. Did you also force her to write the book too, Andrew?
Gun to her head.
I did, but only because I knew that I could promo and sell a bunch of copies and then buy more guns for my own selfish patriarchal needs. It's called Occult Feminism. You can find it on Amazon,
there you go.
among other
Little
places.
plug there,
Thank
yeah.
you so much for allowing me to shamelessly shill it, Brian.
Of course.
I want to start a cult.
Good times. Wait, so okay. You have a love-hate relationship with men.
Yeah.
You said most men are losers?
Yes.
What are most women then?
I think the general population, I'm kind of deviating away from this question, but I think the general population, a lot of people are really insecure and they project that onto other people.
Okay. All right.
So I think
moving
it's on both sides.
Can you be sexist towards men?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Sexist, yes. Misandrist, no.
Wait, hold on.
I will clarify
What?
this. I will clarify
Let's
this.
not dive back into that.
I would not like to either. If I can clarify this without diving back into a
No,
conversation,
we weren't. I don't even think we were. We've talked about. Can you be racist towards white people?
Because I was gonna connect it to that. I was gonna say I think you can be sexist to men in the same way you can be prejudiced, like a white person can be prejudiced, but I don't
What?
think on a systemic level there's no like misandry.
What?
Hold on, bro. What? Yeah. Wait, so you're saying you can be sexist?
Yeah, on like an individual prejudice level, yeah, you can say I hate men, but it doesn't equate to any sort of real.
No systemic.
No.
There's no systemic. So you're saying there's current? Oh my God, bro! I don't even know where to begin with this one. This shit could take 3 hours to
I hope
fucking
it doesn't.
unwind. So, but I'm confused because this is a little bit different than your stance on the racism.
It is different,
with
and,
white
yeah.
people because you said no, you can't be racist towards white people.
Nah, it's the same. It's the same logic, Brian. You'll see as you unravel.
It's the same logic, but I do feel differently about it. I don't know if I want to get into that
But you
conversation.
said, okay, so misandry.
Yeah.
Do you deny that there even is misandry? The
yeah.
hatred
on like a. And I know there's definitely hatred of men. I think it is.
But it's not on a systemic level.
I don't think
because
it. I mean,
women
yeah,
don't
you
have
can
the
mock me, but yeah,
systemic
that's what I
power
think.
in society. They can't really be misandrous, right?
Sorry, what?
Because women don't have institutional power, they can't really be misandrous,
That's
right?
not the definition of misandry, though. So if the
That's what
definition
she's
of
gonna say.
misandry,
Hang on, just let her. Hang on. That's what you're gonna say,
If we're,
right?
well, I mean, if we're going by the definition of like strictly hatred of men, yeah, then yeah, you can hate men.
it says dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against men.
Yeah, then you can definitely.
Why do
feel
you
that.
could
believe
also
that
be like
misandry
lesbianism
can't
if,
really
like, you just
exist?
dislike
It's
men.
because of why.
It's not in your taste buds.
Because of why? What?
Why is it that you actually believe, though, that misandry can't exist? It's because you believe that women don't have institutional power, and therefore, because they don't, they can't truly be misandrous. Only men
Well, that's
can
why I
be
think it's different from-
patriarchist
from
and
race.
chauvinist, right? Isn't that really the case?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to repeat the question. Honestly, sorry.
You think, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that the only reason that men or women can't be misandrous towards men is because women don't have institutional power, right?
Essentially, yeah. I mean, if we're
Yeah.
going strictly on the
So
definition of hatred,
it's just
then
the
yeah.
same bullshit anti-racist argument. It's the same exact thing that you said before, right?
Yeah.
Because you know why
It's
you're
slightly
making this
different in the
argument?
United
Because
States,
it
though.
makes you a minority. The reason you make this argument is because it makes you a minority. That's the only
No, I
reason
don't
you women. Yeah, it is. Listen, I'll
Okay,
prove
I mean,
it.
you're
Are you a
assuming my
minority?
perspective. You're assuming my perspective.
Are you a minority?
No, I don't think women are the minority, and neither are white people, and I'm a white woman.
Well, wait
I'm
a second.
I'm a
That's
majority in
confusing
both
to me.
ways.
Wait. That's super confusing. You're not a minority, but you cannot discriminate as any type of collective against men. Only men can collectively discriminate
Yes.
against you.
I could engage in discrimination against a black man, on a
Yes,
racial
you
level.
would, but that would not negate the fact that you're a minority just because you could discriminate against a black man. A Hispanic could discriminate against a black man, correct?
Sure, yes.
So if a Hispanic can discriminate against a black man,
Mm-hmm.
you would not say a Hispanic is not a minority, would you?
No, but I mean, I'm not
No,
a
of
minority.
course
Like
not, but
statistically,
you-
I'm not a minority.
How could
I
you
don't know.
not be a minority?
That's not what
Are you
minority
saying that
means.
you're the majority but don't have institutional power? That's what you're saying?
Yes. Like, as a whole, women do not have more institutional power than men. White women
Right,
have more
but-
institutional power than a lot of different groups.
How
But
does that not make you a
we're ta-
minority, though?
I never said anyone was a minority. I'm
Yeah, but
not a minority.
how could you not be a minority?
Because that's not the
absent
definition. Minority
institutional
means
power?
a minority
In
of
other
the
words-
population.
All right, let's try this a different way. Let's assume that we're looking at this from an intersectional perspective. You know what intersectionality is from your feminist study classes, correct?
I've never taken one, but I can take
Oh,
a
okay.
stab at it.
You
yeah.
would put white men at the top of the oppress everybody the fuck else ladder, right?
I don't think there's anyone above white men. I wouldn't rank it on like a hierarchy, but
If you
we
were
had
to rank
to,
it on
yeah.
a hierarchy, white men would be on the top,
Yep,
right?
I would put them at the top.
And women, white women, would be under that, right?
Yes, I would say so, yeah.
Wait,
Gotcha. Maybe like second, right? Number two?
Sure.
Yeah, right. So you're saying that you're discriminated against by white men as a white woman.
I mean, in some ways, I'm sure. I think misogyny is absolutely relevant. I think institutional discrimination against women in the United States and like most developed countries is not the problem that it has been historically. But I mean, there are countries where women just got the right to drive like 5 years ago.
Yeah, we're talking about the United States.
Okay, yeah, then
And inside the United States, you still consider yourself to be underneath white men, correct?
yeah.
Yeah, so you are oppressed by white men, right?
I mean, in a small way, sure, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
So when you say that white women or black women or any women cannot actually be misandrist, you're just saying that because you consider white men to be above everybody in the hierarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. So next time,
Cool.
just say that. Now,
Okay, I will.
diving into that, are there more white women or white men in the United States?
I think women. I think
Do you
women outnumber.
women?
I think women
Why
outnumber
is
men.
it? How come they don't have the institutional power, even though
Because it's not a
there's more
number.
of
It's
them
not a
than there are
numbers
men?
game. It's not a. That's not. I mean, that's just not how institutional power works.
Really? So then a minority could hold institutional power and lord it over everybody else?
Yeah. We've already gone into the discussion of scale.
Wait, I just wanted to make sure that I have this clear. A minority could hold institutional power and lord it over everybody else, even in a place where they're not the majority, correct?
Sure.
Like Detroit?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Thank
Okay.
you.
Cool.
I'm so confused by a lot of things here because you're saying women don't have institutional or systemic power
No, I'm not saying they don't have any. I'm saying there's
as
definitely.
compared to men.
Yes, as compared to men.
Well, then how do you reconcile? So I already made this argument before.
Mhm.
In the higher education system, every single university has a women's study, a feminist study program,
Mhm.
which perpetuates the feminist ideology. So, and not just in the university.
Have you ever taken a feminist studies class?
Hold on. Not just in the university system, but in corporations, in media, in government, feminism is the status quo.
I mean, I think that's a reaction to the historical discrimination against women. It's not elevating them above men, it's elevating them to their level.
But
It's
you're
the
saying
same thing as like we were
who
talking about
holds
policies.
the power? Who holds the power?
Men. And I think
Not
that...
feminists?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I know that you think that, but I disagree.
But okay, so if men hold all the power, then...
I didn't say they hold all the power. I'm saying that women cannot, like, on a broad level, discriminate, like... there is no institutional discrimination against men by women.
It sounds like you're trying to say it's just kind of like a man's world. It favors men.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like subjected to any sort of like, discrimination on a personal level, but as a whole, men do hold more institutional power than women. I mean, look at our politicians. We have plenty of women, but we've never had a female president. I mean, that's kind of surface level.
Apex fallacy.
Apex
wait
fallacy.
a second.
Okay.
It's an apex.
Hang on.
All right.
It's
really
an apex
weird.
fallacy.
Sure.
Wait a second. There's more women in the voting pool than there are men. So you don't have a female president. Isn't that on you?
Wait, hold on. You're saying women just got the right to vote?
Not like
what year
immediately.
what year did women get the right to vote?
I don't have that knowledge. I think it was the 1900s.
My understanding is there are no women alive in the United States who never had the right to vote.
But we do have our
I'm
mothers
pretty
and
sure
our
if my math
grandmothers
checks out.
telling us to utilize
Maybe
this
there's
right.
What's that?
I said we have our mothers and our grandmothers telling us to utilize this right.
I mean,
What?
but also if we're
Your
looking...
your mom and grandmother could vote.
Yeah, I'm saying that they were telling
What? I'm
people my
confused.
age to utilize the right.
What's your argument?
Like my mother and my grandmother are like, you should vote. That's what I'm saying.
Cool, I guess.
I'm saying that we have like the pressure from our elders.
But
telling
again,
us
all
to
these
utilize
universities with their $100 million endowments, and these universities are steeped in feminist ideology.
What effect is that having on men's
Massive.
lives?
What effect is
Like,
holy
problem
shit?
like
is-
materially,
okay.
not like men are sad because of it. I mean, like, what actual real effects that are sustained and will last throughout history? What effect is that having?
Well, the biggest effect is the reproduction crisis, which has happened as a direct result of women's liberation and especially the sexual revolution, which has taken responsibility off of women to the point where 16-year-old women don't know that a P and a V leads to babies. What's happened also is that you have seen, as a result of this crazy-ass sexual revolution, abortion skyrocket. You've seen
How is
divorces
abortion an effect on
skyrocket.
men?
You've seen women's liberation lead. All ends lead to a reproductive crisis inside of the nation.
How is the reproductive crisis in effect only for men? How is that something that only affects men?
It's not something that only affects men.
That's what I was asking. What's an effect of feminist studies classes, a real material effect on men's lives that only affects men and is significant and can sustain into the future? How is it negatively impacting
the
men?
The draft would be something I could point to immediately.
The draft
That
is not a
women's-
result of
women's
feminist
lib
studies
has not-
classes. The
women's
draft
lib has-
existed
stop,
long
I'm
before
explaining.
feminist studies.
Do you want the answer or not?
Well, you're wrong. Your answer is incorrect.
How do you know? I haven't explained my answer.
Feminist studies classes existed after the draft, so you can't say that's a result of feminist
So what?
studies.
They have not addressed the draft as they have addressed women's liberation.
How many feminist
Why
studies
is it
classes have
so
you
still
taken?
to this day? Hey, stop. Let me explain. Why is it still to this day that when it comes to the draft, women can avoid it and men cannot?
Well, you're the one saying that women are just physiologically different. Do you think we could adequately defend ourselves in war?
No, which is why I don't think you should have equal rights to men.
Okay. I mean, if you don't think women should have equal rights to men, then we can't really engage on a equal
Why
level.
can't we engage on it?
You don't think I should have equal rights to you? How am I supposed
Why
to
do
engage
it?
with
Why
you?
and why is there a moral imperative that you must?
That I must have equal rights, or that I must engage with you?
That you must have equal rights. First of all,
There's no moral
let's start
imperative.
with this.
I mean,
Let's
all
start
rights
with
are
this.
up for debate.
My position is that rights do not exist. They're
they
a
don't.
social construction, a product of the mind.
Absolutely, I agree with you on that.
Good, great. You agree with me. Why is there a moral imperative that you have equal rights to men who defend you while you sleep?
There is
What
none.
war are you in?
There is none.
What
right, there is
draft
none.
have you been in? How are
I'm
you
sorry?
protecting me in my daily life? What have you individually done?
Well, let's assume that I've individually done nothing, that it would have no merit in the argument whatsoever.
What about women who choose to enlist in the military despite not being in the job? I just think we should move on to a different topic. We're not getting anywhere.
I'm sure I'm sure that you do.
I'm sure that you do. Back to the moral thing, there is no moral imperative. I would agree with you that rights do not exist. That's something we agree upon as a society. there's no inherent like moral imperative that everyone has equal rights. There's no imperative that any race has equal rights. That's something we debate on and we decide. And I am of the opinion that it is unfair, it's unjust for women to not have equal rights. You can disagree.
Yeah, but so what? Who cares if you think that?
Who cares
what
if you
makes
think
it a
they
moral,
shouldn't?
What makes it a moral imperative? Just
I have already
consensus?
said there is no moral imperative. There's nothing
There
inherent
is no
in
moral
being
imperative,
alive
so we
that
just
gives
do it
anyone
off
rights.
of consensus?
Sorry?
We just do it off of consensus?
I mean, yeah, essentially, it's like a
And do you
political
think
rights
we
are a
should
political
do it off of
process.
consensus?
I would disagree. I believe in democracy, but
Do you,
can-
so
we
you
can
think we
disagree.
should do things off of a consensus?
yeah, that's what I said.
So what if the democratic order arbitrarily lowered the age of consent to 16 or 15 or 14?
I think there are states where it's 16. I don't know.
But let's assume that it was younger. Do you think that we should adhere to the democracy because that's what the consensus is?
If you believe in democracy, yes. I mean, in like Japan,
What if it
it's
was
like
10?
13.
Should we do that?
I would not. I would vote against that, and I might even move out of
Yeah,
the country.
but why? What's the moral imperative? You just said there's no moral imperative, and we should follow what the consensus says. So if the consensus said
I said
it
there's
should
no
be
moral
10,
imperative
why
for-
is it
for
that
rights.
it shouldn't be 10?
Well, because I think having, can I say?
Because
I feel like this is a topic that might like go
Can
into.
you-
okay,
make a
yeah,
different
fair
argument,
enough.
Andrew?
Okay, let's assume it the other way. Let's just assume it a different way.
Okay.
Why is it then that if the consensus was that you could have sex with a dead body?
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
Is this
No, this is TOS fine.
Why do you
If that was the
hate women
consensus,
so much?
Why
Why do you
is
hate
it?
about
No,
having
stop!
sex
Don't
with a
interrupt!
body?
Don't interrupt! Don't interrupt! She can speak for herself. If that was the consensus, why shouldn't we do it?
I would just disagree personally. If that's the consensus,
That's it.
if no,
you
if
would just disagree. There's no moral
That's
imperative to not screw a dead body.
Because we need to honor
there is
the
a moral
dead.
imperative to not do that, I will
What
take
is
a
it?
stand on
What
that.
is it?
I don't know. It's wrong.
It is.
You don't
because
know. You don't fucking know what the moral imperative
The
is to
moral
not screw a
imperative
dead
is you
body.
honor the dead. That's the moral.
What's
imperative.
that?
You honor the dead.
But why is that a
gross,
moral
I don't know.
imperative?
You're supposed to have honor for the dead. You're not supposed
Why
to
is that a moral
disrespect the dead.
imperative?
I
Because
mean,
philosophy.
everyone
I don't
has
know.
different morals. There is no universal moral imperative
If
for
there's no
anything.
universal morals, then what's wrong with people screwing dead bodies, lady?
It's against my morals. I don't know.
So it's just your arbitrary. There's no moral
All
ground.
morals are
So if a
arbitrary.
society-
All
so
morals
just
are
to get this
arbitrary.
right, I want to make sure I get this right.
Yeah.
If a society, which is a democracy, votes that people are allowed to screw dead bodies, you have nothing other than I personally disagree with that
I
to
would
justify
move.
why
I
they
just wanna
shouldn't
take
I
do
would.
that.
I would move. I
Hold
think.
on, let her answer.
Okay.
I think I would leave the country. I don't think I would like to live in a country
Yeah,
where
I know, but
necrophilia
answer
was
my
legal.
question. You have nothing other than me. My personal opinion. This is bad, right? That's it. That's your entire moral justification. So all of human morality for you comes from your brain, and that's it.
I mean, my personal morality does, and then we all collectively
so what's
discuss.
the moral imperative why they shouldn't do that?
I genuinely have never thought about necrophilia. I'm sorry that
I
you
have
love
no idea.
thinking
You
about
have no
it,
clue.
but yeah,
So
I
if a
don't
guy
know.
goes out in another country, and he digs up grandma, and he bangs grandma's corpse,
My
can
grandma
you give
was
me a moral
cremated.
argument for why that's wrong?
I would. No, honestly, I just know it's wrong. I
This is
mean,
fucking unreal. You progressives suck so bad. You
how is
suck.
that? Are you
All right.
are you pro necrophilia? Are
no,
you
the
pro?
opposite.
You don't. You
I
don't
have
have a
moral
more.
justification. I have epistemological grounding
Okay,
for why
well,
I
you're
would
Christian.
be
I'm
against
not.
something like that. You just got done saying to me, literally, you have no moral justification for why someone shouldn't dig up grandma and screw him. That's literally what you just said.
It's wrong. That's my moral justification.
What's your moral justification?
It's wrong. I personally
Based
believe
on?
it's wrong. Based on my own morals. I mean, it's
Right,
circular
so
reasoning,
you
but
are
that's
the
all I
arbiter
have.
of all of human morality?
No, that's what
So
democracy
then
is.
there's
We all,
no epistemic justification. It's circular.
No.
It's wrong because it's wrong because it's wrong
we
because
just
it's wrong because it's wrong.
Yeah, and you could do the exact. Because I mean, I believe you're a Christian, and that's your
Oh
epistemology.
yes. Would you like to get into epistemological foundations for why
I would
it is
love
that
to, but I don't
the
think anyone
Christian
else. I don't
worldview
think anyone
is
else would
far
like to.
better than anything that you just said. You just said you could dig up grandma and bang her. And
You're
that
the one
only
that
thing
said
preventing
that.
was
You're
that I just
putting words in
disagree.
her mouth.
I would rather not talking
Why are
about
you-
digging up grandmas and banging them because I'm
Are you
personally.
a grandma banger?
I'm not.
Are you?
If we're gonna accuse anyone of being a grandma banger, I would say let's accuse Andrew.
MILF.
A gilf?
My grandma was beautiful, but please don't do that to her.
Awkward.
It's bad because it's bad. The good is the good, and the bad
I mean,
is
yeah,
the
God
bad.
is real
It's
because God
all-
is real.
All
Like,
of it's
what?
arbitrated. But if your
Absolutely. Life
mind
is
of what
arbitrary.
is
I don't
your
know what you want me to
personal
say.
disagreement-
I think philosophy and morality is
You know what?
subjective.
I actually have a proposal here. Andrew's going to be coming in studio next week. Maybe you guys have like, I don't know if you're down, Andrew. You guys should just do a one-on-one debate.
Oh my.
Why? She would lose in 15 minutes. It was 15 minutes.
Sounds like you're scared.
Oh, are you down? You down?
Oh,
Let's
no,
do it.
happily. You want to go in studio, have a 1v1 debate where nobody
Are we
can
gonna be able to
interrupt, I
be
can't get
equally
sidetracked, I
prepared?
can
Are
actually
we gonna-
grill you, you can grill me back, sure.
Are we going to be allowed to?
It'll be well moderated. It'll be yeah. He's very nice. He's a sweetheart in person.
I can
He's
tell.
a sweetheart, right, Andrew?
Sure.
There you go.
Sure.
Let me check my work schedule. I'll think about it though.
Okay, think
I'm
about
down.
it. But I
I'm
think
down.
it would just also for the sake of tonight's
Yeah,
show.
well, I
Yeah,
would say
there's
your
too
chances
much-
of showing
too
up
much
are
one-on-one.
0%. You should probably come up with some type of epistemology before you come into a debate with me, because if you can't answer why you shouldn't bang a dead body other than, it just gives me the ick,
I'll start reading
I think
some
you're gonna have
Hegel.
a problem in this debate.
What do
We should
you
touch
have
on
like
some
any
Sigmund
girlfriends?
Freud,
What
too.
if we make it equal, like it's a 3v1? So like you and 3 girlfriends, or do you,
Bring your professor.
Oh yeah.
Bring your
He would
professor.
love
Oh yeah,
that.
no, bring your fucking professor. Your
Bring the
liberal
professor.
arts major
Bring the
professor.
professor.
Bring him on.
Bring him.
I'm not an
Let's
arts
do
major.
this. I can't wait.
we'll talk. We'll talk.
Yeah,
It's-
let's talk about.
you know, there's
this.
gonna be there's gonna be a bunch of. Okay, anyways, let me do a couple chats. I got some more questions. We have Big Sass Energy. Maddie, can you read this, por favor?
Racism and misandry do not start at the top systemic level. Systemic is a totally separate word. At an individual level, all these things exist against all types of people. LOL at a
Lol.
college education.
Lol. Thank you, Big Sass Energy. Appreciate it. We have David.
Scott?
Oh, Scott. Okay, read it.
Because of feminism is why the courts rule in favor to women to have full custody of the children, and the woman gets half of what the man has worked to obtain. Also, women are not at the front lines.
Thank you, Scott, for your very generous. Thank you, everyone, for your very generous TTS messages.
Andrew,
Thank
I
you,
met
David.
Luke and his girlfriend at the time in Ensenada in a jacuzzi. He told me he was a high school basketball coach but knew him. He was really nice. Go feminization if balanced. Go yellow.
Who's Luke? I'm not sure what.
Loose? No, Luke.
Oh, Luke.
No feminization ever.
Maddie, can you read this?
Just me.
Andrew, I'll have you know I'm happily married to my wife and her boyfriend. You be looking greasy lately. By the way, does your shower not work or are you eating
Don't
too much
mute
pizza?
yourself, Andrew.
Dude, hang on. Pull that chat back up. Pull that chat back up.
Wait, I'm trying to get it. Here, I'm going to do a split on it.
Andrew, I'll have you know I'm happily married to my wife and her boyfriend.
Change the split.
Oh, I'll take the L on the last half of that chat. That's fair. I'll take the L on the last half. But the first, beautiful. Loved it. Great job.
You be looking greasy lately, by the way. Does your shower not work or are you eating too much pizza? Actually, we got some pizza in the studio, and if you guys want, we'll do a little after show, a little pizza sesh if you guys are down. Let's see here. We have Livin' on stream. Andrew wanting. Wait, can you read this one, Andrew?
Yeah, it says, Dear Andrew, I happen to have sex with men. That's what it says.
Can I read it?
Okay, sure.
Andrew wanting to plow ancient grandmas is cope for how bad his wife is.
You should see what they were just saying about how gingers have no souls.
God damn.
That was crazy in chat. They were saying that.
All right. Wait, Kyle Kelsey? Was there a super chat from Kyle Kelsey? The read, so it's just, I don't know if you met the threshold. Read answer is 100 and up. TTS is 200 and up. That's through Streamlabs only for the TTS. We'll do super chats on YouTube. Read 100 and up. It might have not just hit the threshold, but yeah, thank you, man. Also, like the video while you're at it. Couple questions. We talked about, this is somewhat related. You mentioned something about women in, joining the volunteer army. This is something that's come up before. Are men physically stronger than women? Starting with you.
With me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What about you?
Yes. On average, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Nothing there. All right. And we went around on the sexism thing. I did actually have one thought on this. So, fuck, do we really go back here? Fuck it. Let's do something dating related.
Yeah,
Fuck.
please.
God damn. We'll come back to this shit though. We'll come back. We'll come back for sure. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Sorry.
Okay.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, well, anyways.
do you think men are insecure for caring about a woman's body count? Starting with you.
Are insecure for caring?
Yeah, do you think men are insecure if they care about a woman's body count?
I think it would stem from insecurity, but everyone's like allowed to have their own preferences.
It would stem from insecurity, but okay.
I think that's subjective because if you have someone that's just going to sleep with anyone due to attraction, there's no saying, like, are they going to do that if they're in a relationship with you, if their body count is high?
Okay, so you don't think it's insecure? And also just,
I think it's subjective. I think it can be insecure. It's like really depends.
let me just tack on another question to this. Does body count matter? Should body count matter? I don't know if you want to add on to that.
I think that's also subjective. Like for me, I wouldn't really want to go for a guy who has a high body count because that just shows me he only values if someone is attractive. And if he's just like coming to me and trying to sleep with me, then he's not actually valuing me as a person and he doesn't want to get to know me.
So then the gal next to you who said that it was a state of insecurity, that would not apply to you.
I think that if as long as the person is safe and clean and you know doesn't put you at any level of risk and you understand your dynamic of their relationship, it doesn't matter.
I am
to me.
pro slut. It's just not
So
for
she's
me.
she's not being insecure when she says that she would not want to have a man with a high body count, right?
I think that insecurity shouldn't be a negative word. There's plenty of things I'm insecure about that I don't think are inherently negative. I personally would definitely be insecure if a guy had slept with 80 people, but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't date them or it doesn't mean that it matters to me.
I think it's more
So
important.
then that means that she's insecure?
You know, I can't speak for her. From my perspective, I think it comes from a place of insecurity in worrying about that person only valuing you for appearance, but I don't think that in this case insecurity is a negative connotation.
If I like had
Okay, so then that would be she's insecure, right? How am I getting this wrong?
If I get with someone and they have a high body count, there definitely needs to be a discussion where they show me or like tell me, hey, yeah, temptation is there, but like it's my decision to reject that. And if we have that discussion and they're mature enough to have that discussion, then fine. But right off the bat, if someone is just trying to sleep with me, then that just tells me that they value attraction over anything
Here,
else.
let's get everybody's answers. Go ahead.
Which question?
Both.
Okay. I do think body count matters, but I don't think it stems from insecurity necessarily. I think it just shows that they care.
I think it's a form of insecurity, but like at the same time, I think that the more people that you sleep with, the more energies that you can like attract to yourself. So I'm indifferent on that one.
So would you say that the gal who said that she would not want to sleep with a man with a high body count is coming from a place of insecurity then?
It also comes from a place of danger where it's like I'm more
Oh,
susceptible.
hang on. Just let her
Guys,
answer.
into the mics.
It comes from a place of danger where I'm
No,
more
no, not
susceptible
you.
to
I'm asking her.
STDs as well.
Would you say that she's coming from a place of insecurity because she just said she wouldn't want to date a man with a high body count?
I think it's a little bit different for women, so no, I'm
Of
going to
course.
say it's not, because men are notoriously known for sleeping with a lot of women. So
What?
I don't think that it's insecurity. Yeah, you guys get praised for how many women you can like pull and
That's
sleep
because
with.
it's hard for men to do that. It's easy for y'all to do that.
I mean, yeah, but I'm saying that's my justification of why I don't think it's insecurity for a woman.
Just for men.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it depends. It could come from a bunch of different emotions. Like one of them could be insecurity, or it could be like a religious thing. If you're waiting for marriage, you
What if they're not religious? What if they're secular,
I still
they
think
don't
it could-
want to wife up the town bicycle?
Then I think it could be insecurity, or it could just be moral. I mean, like we all know, I have morals outside of religion, so it could be morals. It could
Let's
be
say he's
insecurity.
immoral.
He's immoral, then
And
yeah,
he
I would
doesn't have any morals.
I would
He
say-
just doesn't want to get with a promiscuous woman.
Then yes, I think that would be a
That
form
would
of
be-
sexual insecurity.
It would be sexual insecurity.
Yes.
So would it be sexual insecurity for a man to not want to date a woman who fucked a guy yesterday?
Like date her immediately? Because I feel like if
have
you just
sex
if you
with her immediately, date her
that's
immediately.
not dating. I mean, if you won't have sex with someone because they had sex with someone, like you won't have casual sex with someone because they had sex with someone else yesterday, that is valid because there's no way to know their STD status.
Let's even
Oh,
assume.
okay. Well, let's say they went and got an STD check, literally right away. You had the results
It
in
wouldn't
your
be valid.
hand.
It would because
You
it
knew
takes
for
like 2
sure-
weeks. So like, let's say someone had sex 2 weeks ago and they have a clean bill of health.
What if there's a magical wand?
Okay. Okay. Well, we could say that about anything.
No. It's just, let's say she went, she had sex 5 hours ago, but she comes to you and presents you with a clean bill of health.
Then yeah, I would say it probably is. And like you said, I don't
That's
think
insecurity?
I don't think it's necessarily. I think everyone can be insecure in that way. Like I don't want to be compared to the last person you had sex with.
So then it would be insecurity.
I think it's subjective too. If it's
I think it
insecure
depends, but-
or if it's like controlling.
Yeah,
or,
it could
like,
also be controlling. It
if
could
it's,
be
like, for
it could be
safety.
misogyny. It
There's,
could
like,
be a
so
variety
many
of
How
reasons.
is it? How would it
No,
be
so I just
misogyny?
want to make sure I get this right. You have 2 kids, and your son, he's 16 years old, and he comes to you and he's like, "Hey, Mom, listen, I really like this girl. She just fucked a guy 10 hours ago, but she did give me a clean bill of health. So I'd like to go have sex with her." Would you say, that's fine because you don't want to be insecure?
I think it's weird to talk to your mom about that.
Yeah, no, I
derailed.
I would not.
Yeah, okay,
I would
great,
not.
but let her answer
No,
the
I wouldn't
question,
call my
please.
son. No, I wouldn't say it would be insecure not to do that. I would say make your own decision.
It
No,
wouldn't be?
no, I wouldn't.
Oh, okay. But that would be coming from a place of insecurity from your son, right?
Well, I thought he wanted to have sex with her.
Sure. In
But
this
if he-
particular case, the guy wanted to have sex with her until he found out that she had sex with another person just a few hours prior. You said
Okay.
that was insecurity.
I wouldn't tell him that if it was my son, but I think it definitely could be coming from a place of insecurity. Yeah, every person is
So
different.
your son's just being insecure, that little bastard.
Maybe. I don't know him.
I think
Well, would you
everyone's.
say the most secure thing you could do if you really wanted to be secure in your masculinity is go rail that fucking broad that you wanted to rail who just fucked another guy 10 hours ago?
You could
That
say
would be the
that.
most secure thing he could do?
I think everyone has different boundaries as well in terms of like choosing a sexual partner.
Okay,
and that's
so
fine.
do you agree it's wrong in the opposite direction? Would it be okay for me to deny having sex with a man knowing that he has another sexual partner currently?
Yes.
Yeah.
So then that's just your perspective of insecurity. But for me, I only
No,
wouldn't
that's
do
not
it because I'm
insecurity.
insecure. No, but I
No,
would only
that's
not
moral
have sex.
epistemology. That's
No,
not insecurity.
I would only be wary of a body count based off of my own personal insecurity of not fulfilling the type of intimacy that they are seeking, whether they've had a lot of sexual partners due to, a sex addiction or due to corn consumption or anything else.
Okay.
It would be
Okay, I'll
coming from a
grant
place
all
of
of those
insecurity for
things.
me personally, but I'm not saying
Sure.
for everyone, but for me
I'll
personally.
grant all of that as being true, and I'll ask you the same exact question. Your 16-year-old son comes to you, and let's say he's 18, and he says, "I really like this girl, and I really wanted to rail her, but Mom, she fucked another dude 10 hours ago, and that just kind of grosses me out." That would be him being insecure?
I would say if you really like her and you're willing to have an open conversation with her about exclusivity or not continuing that, then you should. But if it's something that makes you feel insecure, which I think if there's no risk of STDs, no risk of anything.
It's just gross.
I mean, to
just
me,
gross.
to me, it's gross, but I think it comes from a place of insecurity. What's the difference between having sex yesterday and me having sex 2 years ago?
So then let's back that
What
logic
if someone
back the
had a
other
body
direction.
count of 80 but hasn't had sex in 10 years?
Okay, fine.
Does
It
that
comes
make
from a
them
place of
more
insecurity.
pure?
So then backing that up the
Wait, can I?
backing
Sorry,
that up
can
the
I offer
other
my
direction.
question?
Well, you just answered.
No.
So
I'm
then
offering a
backing-
question. If I say hypothetically, there's a person who has a body count of 80 people,
split.
but they've been abstinent for 5 years. Are they less gross than a girl who has a body count of 2 who had sex yesterday?
Yes.
Because they've been abstinent for 10 years, even though their body count's 80?
That's still less gross, yeah, than fucking a chick who might still have another man's jizz in her. Now,
Well, why
backing
are you
up to
assuming
this,
she's having
let me ask you
unsafe
this.
sex?
Going back
Let's
the other
say she
direction,
is.
then, from your particular logic, let's just go over your particular logic here. If that is a place of insecurity, then wouldn't it not be true that the most secure thing he could do if he liked this girl and he really wanted to rail her and she really wanted to have sex with him and he just said I was a little bit grossed out by it, the most secure thing he could do would be to have sex with her, right?
I think the original argument was just asking if caring about body count was insecurity, which I agree
Yeah, I
with.
know
I
what the
think
original
there's
argument was. Can you answer my question?
Yeah, I'm answering. I don't think that it's a more secure thing because it's a completely different conversation as someone having sex, a couple hours ago is a different conversation
It's
than their
gross
body
in
count.
different ways.
Yeah.
It's gross
a
in
different
different ways.
concept. So I'm not saying that is insecurity. I'm saying the original argument stems from insecurity to some level.
Yes,
but I think
know, and
it's
that's why I'm
totally
bringing the
valid.
argument back.
And I don't think it's insecure to choose to not have to have sex with someone who is just sexually active. But I think for some people it could be an insecurity thing. For me, it would be a hygiene
Okay,
issue.
so now we get into nuance. So let me ask you this. Why would it be insecure if this is the case and they have this preference and they say no? You say that's not insecurity and it's not the most secure thing you could do to then have sex with that person. Why would it be insecure if they extrapolated that out over more time?
I believe the insecurity comes in the format of caring about the actual quantity of sexual partners. And the only reason I have that perspective is because for me personally, it comes from a place of insecurity.
Okay, yeah, I know that you keep saying that.
Yeah, but what's even your question?
I still haven't gotten an answer to this. First, you said it was insecure of him not to do this thing from 10 hours ago. They had a clean bill of health. Then you said,
No, I
well,
didn't.
wait, it's not the most secure thing they could do.
No,
If they
I didn't say it was. I didn't.
Okay, go
but
ahead
you're
again.
telling me I
We'll do
said
it again.
something that I didn't say. And if you replayed any of what I had just said, I did not say that. I said
Okay, well, then let me just ask you yes or no's. I'm not going to give you any loaded questions. I promise none of them will be
simple
loaded.
yes or no.
Yes or no? Is it insecure if your son came to you, he's 18 years old, he said, hey, this woman I really, really, really like her, she really likes me, had sex 10 hours ago, and that grosses me out, so I don't want to have sex with her.
I would say that's no problem, and you should wait and
That's
see.
not my question. Is it insecure?
Not if it's a hygiene issue.
No. Okay, great. Well, okay, hygiene issue. She has a clean bill of health. She has a clean, I told you, it's baked in. She has a clean bill of health. There's no hygiene issue.
What if her pH
He
balance
just is
off?
grossed.
Yeah.
He's just grossed out. He's just grossed the fuck out by it.
I think
Is
this
that
kinda dives
insecure that he
ick.
doesn't want to hump a chick who's full of another man's
That's
jizz?
totally fine.
I think this also dives into having standards.
No, I think she needs to answer the question. Answer my question. Is it insecure of him to not want
I
to do
already
that,
answered
or
your
isn't
question.
it?
I said no, it's not insecure of him.
Yeah, but
I
you
think
said because of
caring
a
about-
hygienic issue. I'm saying
but
there's no
you don't
hygiene
understand.
issue present.
These conversations go through a plethora of different components. Did he have sex 10 hours ago?
That's fucking
No.
disgusting.
If he didn't have sex 10 hours ago, then
Huh?
it is not coming from insecurity. But if he had sex yesterday and he's judging her for having sex yesterday, it does come from a place of insecurity. Does that make sense?
So then if he's chaste and she's not chaste and he doesn't want to have sex with her over a 5-year plan, wouldn't that be the same exact logic applied and he's not being insecure?
I have no idea what you just said.
I know you don't, but I'll try it again.
Okay.
Assume that this is extrapolated over 5 years and he has chastity and she does not have chastity. And he finds out she's slept with 60 men. How does the same logic not apply here for his preference?
I think it is a different scenario.
Yeah, well, but it's the same logic applied to the scenario.
Okay, so hypothetically, as I said earlier, you said it would be better if someone had been abstinent for 5 years but had a body count of 80
I
versus
didn't say
someone
anything about better. I was testing your logic. You weren't testing mine.
Okay, anyways, thank you so much. Had a great night.
Wait, we got more questions. We got more questions here, okay? Body count. So did we go all the way around on body count?
No.
You answered, right?
I don't remember, honestly.
I think you answered,
Yeah, I
correct?
think so.
You're too far away from the mic.
Yes, it does matter.
It might be helpful if you scoot your chair into the table, but okay, what's your answer?
Yeah, it does matter.
Wait, you never revealed, by the way, you are...
Yes, a virgin, and I'm waiting for marriage.
Oh, okay. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Killer of
Killer
Cereal.
of Cereal donated $200. A woman insecure for having a high body count while saying a guy is insecure for caring about it? What reason does woman have for jeopardizing her self-worth by whoring out to live out of her means?
Anybody want to bite on that? I have a question afterwards.
No.
Anybody?
No.
Bueller? Sorry, Killer of Cereal. I don't know. They don't get it. Okay. Nobody wants to buy it? What? Women insecure for having a high body count while saying a guy's insecure for caring about it. What reason does women have for jeopardy? Okay. Some of you said body count doesn't matter, shouldn't matter, whatever. What's your body count? Starting with you. Go ahead.
Under 10.
Under 10?
I can count it on one hand.
5?
Clarify, mine includes women as well.
Includes women. Do you want to give the number or?
No.
Under 10?
Under 10.
Not something I'm comfortable sharing to the internet.
Rule number 76, no excuses, play like a champion.
Say what you want.
Under 15.
Under 50?
15.
Under 50? Whoa.
15.
Oh my God, I'm deaf. Okay. What about you?
1.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Was it good?
It didn't happen one time, but the count would be 1.
Was that your 1.5 year relationship?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, so you lost your virginity at like 21?
Yeah.
Oh, late bloomer.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Hey, it's fine. Late bloomers.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Why? Just curious. Why did it? Were you waiting for the right guy?
Yeah. Exactly.
Maybe I don't know. Right woman.
No, she's not interested in casual
Right,
sex.
right woman.
Oh,
It was the right guy.
Guy.
It was a guy. It was a guy.
Yeah, guy.
Okay. You're not interested in casual sex. Did you want to wait until you were in love, or did you just want the right guy?
Yeah, just the right guy.
Just the right guy.
I don't think love didn't really factor into it as in terms of like why wait,
Okay.
but like just not an interest in like hooking up.
When you did find that right guy, like how long into knowing him until you guys had carnal knowledge?
A couple months, I think.
Couple months?
Yeah.
Okay. Was he also virgin or no?
No.
No. Okay. Huh. All right. What about you?
Girls 4, guy 1.
We'll do both. Why not? How many ladies have you? I feel like you got Riz. You like be just smashing all the birds.
Smashing all the birds?
The ladies. The ladies.
Oh.
You're just into the mic though.
Oh.
Tell us about all the Riz adventures.
Riz adventures?
Yeah, you just you ran through the girls, right? You ran through them with your Riz, with your shades. You're just rizzing them up. Sunglasses indoors, sunglasses at night. Doesn't matter. The Riz God, the Riz King.
They give them the smolder.
Right?
Yeah.
Bro, be honest. Wait, question. Just like between between boys, right? Like innies or outies.
Wait, what?
Innies or outies. What do you prefer? Innies or outies. What do you prefer?
Oh my gosh.
Innies or outies. What do you prefer?
I mean, the
Innies.
innie was kind of new, so.
New?
Yeah.
What do you mean new? What are you talking about?
Are we talking about P and V?
No. What? Do you have a penis? You have a penis?
No.
You have a penis?
No.
Okay. Cool. Wait, but labia. You had a preference for innies or outies? You know, like women, like straight women, y'all have preferences for penis size, right?
Oh.
Like you guys, sometimes you want a big peen, medium peen.
I would never.
Typically, you don't want a small
I would never mess
peen.
with a small peen.
Wow, racist.
Really? Personality first.
That's racist.
Yeah,
Answer.
personality first.
Personality first.
Yeah, small peen losers. I don't fuck with them.
Yikes! You're gonna get some comments for that one. Wait, so what do you prefer?
Well, right now, I guess. I'm more
No,
open.
back with the ladies.
You
didn't have a preference?
Like bottom top, like.
No
is that-
labia preference.
No,
son.
like, do you like a
damn.
big vagina? Do you like
I
a
don't
fat
have
pussy?
I don't have a preference.
Like large labia.
Do you like when it's hammy? You know?
Oh, I
When
don't
it
really have
hangs
a
out?
preference. I
No
don't
preference?
I
You
don't
didn't
really-
care?
No,
Okay.
I didn't care.
All right.
You should
Y'all
pay
taste great.
attention to that, probably.
Okay. What about you? Oh wait.
0.
Wait. Oh yeah, 0 body count. Are you still?
I'm in a relationship.
All right. They know what it is. They know
If you
what
know,
it
you
is. If you know what it is. Really, you don't like small peens? That's racist, dog.
She's
playing
also
on the-
pro slut.
She said.
I'm pro slut. Oh my god.
Damn.
Just living the dream, man. I wondered if we could tingle up a little bit on your prompt. Trump has been more detrimental to the United States and world than any president in history. I wonder if you could provide your evidence for this claim, and maybe we could get into it.
Sure. So I think that during Trump's first term, he cozied up to dictators. I have multiple examples of this when he was standing right next to Vladimir Putin and did not interrogate him on Russian interference in the 2016 election in the US, or when he did nothing about Putin putting bounties on US troops in the Middle East, or when he was sending love letters to Kim Jong-un, or when he threatened NATO allies. I mean, I can go on.
Yeah, but I would just kind of grant even all of this. That's not evidence that he's been more detrimental to the United States than any president in history. That's a really big claim, dude. What's the evidence for that? Like, he's more detrimental than the presidents who like destroyed the Native American tribes, for instance. He's more detrimental than them.
I thought we were referring to America's image on the world stage.
Well, no. What it says is Trump has been more detrimental to the United States and world than any president in history. Detriment being he's in some way hindering or is hurting or is doing bad things to. If that's the case, then I don't see how in the world you could make such a bold claim considering the historicity of presidents who oversaw things, for instance, like enslavement, right?
I didn't even get to domestic policy.
Let's do that.
I was just talking about America's image abroad. But in terms of leadership at home, complete disaster. His handling of about every single crisis that came to him, COVID, the trade war that he started with China, list goes on. His frequent abuses of power in office, how he undermined democratic institutions and eventually tried to overturn a free and fair election, which, I mean, you're probably going to debate that as well, but even though there's nothing to debate.
Well, I just don't understand, though, how in the world could this be worse than presidents who oversaw the enslavement of an entire race of people? How could that be worse?
Okay, so if we look at enslavement, for example, that was, this is unfortunate, but it's the truth that was the norm back then, right? So it wasn't like do you think George Washington is better than Trump?
I wouldn't say he's better, no.
Okay. Why isn't George Washington better?
Because he oversaw the Whiskey Rebellion and basically sent out his militia to unalive an entire grouping of farmers because they wouldn't pay his tax for the war.
Are you a libertarian?
No.
Okay, just making sure. Anyway,
that was just a bad move. Like that was the first domestic crisis he really had to deal with, and he handled it very poorly. So the thing is like when I look at the historic standard, you saying, well, wait a second, this is how the world was. It's like, well, no, we also have what happened post-Lincoln, after the Emancipation Proclamation, when there was widespread freedom. They're still treated like second-class citizens. That was overseen by multiple Democrat presidents, including Lyndon B. Johnson and many others.
Just so we're clear, though, the Jim Crow laws and all that came after the Civil War was a result of conservatism.
Agreed.
In the United States.
Yeah, okay. I agree.
And to my point was that, I mean, Abraham Lincoln, do you think he was a good president?
No.
So, do you think anyone before 1900 was a good president?
Yes.
Who?
I think Thomas Jefferson was a phenomenal president. I think that Madison was a good president. There's actually quite a few I can list who are pretty good presidents. Go ahead.
That owned slaves.
What's that?
Thomas Jefferson that owned slaves.
Yeah. He was still a good president.
So it's different then. What? So you have different moral standards for whoever.
No, I'm not. I don't have a different moral standard. Your claim is that Trump is the worst.
Well, you're saying that my claim is delegitimized because we had presidents who upheld the institution of slavery, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And Thomas Jefferson was one of those presidents, and he owned slaves.
Yeah.
But it's different from Thomas Jefferson. That's what you just said.
Okay, so first of all,
Please enlighten me.
yeah.
Elaborate.
Well, I'll help you out, but you got a bad echo. So I'm looking at this from your standard. So your standard is saying he's the worst in history. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter if I think that Thomas Jefferson was better. It doesn't even matter if I thought that. Hang on, stop, dude. Can I make the argument? Is that okay or no? So I'm not allowed to make the argument. Okay, not allowed to make the argument. Got it.
Well, you're being hypocritical. And
There's no hypocrisy because it's not my view. It's not my view. It's your view.
Delegitimize my claim.
Yeah. From your standard. From whose standard am I delegitimizing claim? Mine or yours?
There are presidents that upheld the institution of slavery.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But
Yeah.
then you say Thomas Jefferson's a good president, even though he did the same
Yeah,
thing. He
I'm
owned slaves.
bro.
So you can't
Try
delegitimize my
try
claim.
to understand.
You have different moral standards for different presidents.
What does your claim have to do with any view that I have?
You created the debate,
Bro,
by the way.
how does my view have anything to do with your claim? It wouldn't matter if I was completely pro enslavement of all of humanity. It has nothing to do with your view.
The view you brought up was used to delegitimize your claim.
From your view, it's a question. Do you think I asked you a question? Do you think that presidents who oversaw slavery were worse than presidents who don't? How is that me making a claim of any kind, sir?
It depends on the president.
How is that me making a claim, sir?
You said that when I brought up all the points that Trump has done, the domestic issue with Trump and whatnot, you said, so you think that's worse than...
Yeah, that's a question, not a claim. Do you know the difference between a question and a claim?
And then you said, because you seem to think that that's a problem, right? And then you said Thomas Jefferson is
No, you're just making an inference because you think it's bad. I didn't say that. I asked you a question. That's not a claim. Asking you
Jefferson is one of your favorite presidents before...
Bro, stop muting me. It's so bad faith, dude.
Even though he's a...
You're just going to mute me the whole time? You don't want to debate. Coward. Such a coward, dude.
You want to use that claim to delegitimize mine.
I didn't make a claim. Never made. Show me the claim I made. What claim did I make?
You said that my points about Trump's domestic issues were delegitimized.
Never happened. I asked you a single question. I never made a claim of any kind. You don't know what a claim is.
Interrupt me one more time and I'm just going to fucking kick you, dumbass.
Oh no! I mean, you have like 7,000 people watching.
Oh,
right
no.
now. Oh no!
I mean, you have like 7,000. Okay. Anyway, so I'll finish. So you tried to delegitimize my claim because there are presidents that upheld the institution of slavery. And you said Thomas Jefferson. So I said, well, Thomas Jefferson was a slave owner and he upheld the institution of slavery, right? And he expanded.
Doesn't understand a good claim, how a claim works.
Expanded for you. So why the hell would I ever debate you? And I kicked him because he kept interrupting me. Don't ask me a fucking question and then not let me finish. And if the standards during that period of time, that was the norm. That is the unfortunate truth. That was the norm. Wrong norm, but that was the norm. The man who emancipated the slaves didn't even believe in abolishing slavery either.
Agreed.
And just to get, never have we seen a president try to overthrow an election.
Yes, we have.
Just so, okay, so
what are you talking about?
Just about cancels everything out. Bro, you didn't let him speak. I did. Gail O'Connor, let's see.
Gail O'Connor's just going to say the same thing. Watch.
Well, I want to challenge your claim. I think FDR was a much worse president than Trump.
Oh, yeah. That's probably the most brain-dead take I think I've ever...
Why does this keep skipping?
Camps, 200,000 Japanese Americans?
They weren't concentration camps, but they were internment camps, and that...
Yeah, they were internment camps. They were for it.
Concentration camp is, but I agree that was wrong.
You were okay. Trump.
Why does it keep doing this? It just keeps on.
Okay, so
FDR has
What about when he separated families at the south?
Crossed illegally into the border.
Left.
This is like
much longer,
unbearable, dude.
In the law.
Well, I mean, that situation would have been prevented if the families never jumped over the border in the first place.
There's excuses for Trump, right?
It's not an excuse. It's an actual fact. It's a fact. It's a fact.
But he still locked people up. He locked children up. It doesn't matter.
Because they violated the law. So if you commit any sort of crime, say drunk driving, for example, you're going to be separated from your kid. That's how it works.
Hold on. The children that are 5 years old, they got picked up by their parents and locked up in cages for separated from their parents for
if you commit a crime from your child, that's how it works. Those parents, of course, it's not the kid's fault, but it's the parents' fault. They violated the U.S. Constitution, the U.S. law.
That's fine then. Okay, that's fine. So then, if that's your moral standard, then sure, fine. But Trump did the same.
Is it bad? Do you think criminals should be kept with their children? Do you think so?
Absolutely bad. And also to my
so therefore you support drunk drivers, murderers, rapists,
most of them were
to be with their children? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Most of them were asylum seekers anyway, so they're not even.
That doesn't matter. They still violated the law.
Are you stupid?
Oh, hey, I'm claiming
asylum
every single right to say no. You are not. You are trying to reap economic benefits by immigrating illegally over here.
That's not how the asylum process works.
But the U.S. has every single right to say no, you're not allowed. So that doesn't mean then you can just cross the border because you want to seek asylum.
That's not how the asylum process works. Go up to the southern border, they go up to a checkpoint, and that's when they apply to seek asylum. That's when they apply. Then
why will parents be separated from their children at the border checkpoint if they're doing it legally? No, these are people who are in the country. These are people in the country. That's what we're talking about. You don't even
got rid of regulations.
You don't even know what you're talking about. Don't mute.
He got rid of protections that.
Calm down. Shh, calm down.
He got rid of protected.
And he's muted.
Families that seek asylum. That's why they were split. Asylum. That's why
and
they were split.
Muted.
Because
I don't know what's going on, dude, but this is insufferable. Whatever.
Anyways, Andrew, how old are you? Who'd you vote for?
I'm 40. I voted for Trump. Good afternoon, by the way.
Good afternoon. Trump plus MAGA equals white supremacy. Do you agree or disagree?
I disagree.
Why?
Well, first, I haven't seen you bring any compelling evidence of YT supremacy.
Because no one can actually make the argument as to why they believe that this is inaccurate. Like, explain to me
That's
why
just an argument from incredulity. That doesn't give you legitimize your position.
Hey, Andrew. Pay attention.
I'm paying attention.
So you would have to make the argument as to why you disagree.
No, it's your claim.
No.
Why do I need to make an argument against your claim?
This is how a debate works. If you disagree with it, you would have to give evidence or any information as to why you disagree with the fact that
I did, because there's no compelling evidence of it. That's my argument. So if you have compelling evidence, then tell me what the compelling evidence is.
Andrew, that's going to be your argument, right? That you just haven't seen anything.
There's no compelling evidence, yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the fact. Well, I'm going to ask you, what does the slogan MAGA mean?
Make America Great Again.
Okay. So what are we talking about? Make America Great Again. When was America great for everyone and not just rich white people?
Yeah. So the problem with this is that you're strawmanning the position of what MAGA is saying.
That's not a straw man. Can you answer the question?
I don't know how I'm supposed to answer it when you mute me when I'm in the middle of answering him. So
you're complaining.
Yeah. So I'm trying to answer your question.
You're complaining and not answering.
Yeah. Okay. So the answer is he's talking about the economic systems which were in occurrence where you could have a single family income and support an entire family. This type of thing. He's not alluding to race in any capacity, and never has, by the way.
Okay. So then, are you trying to refer that the economic system was great under Trump?
No. I told you what MAGA was, what that's referring to. You understand? That's
Right,
a referent to the thing you asked me. It has nothing. Why? I have no idea why you're going down this path now.
I am asking you. Are you saying in any way that the economic system was great?
No, I didn't make any of those claims. I told you that there's no compelling evidence that Trump is a YT supremacist. Do you have any evidence?
Do you believe in that, though? That the economy was great under Trump?
Why does it matter what I believe for you to prove your claim?
Because we would have to go into depth about
Yeah, let's go into depth for the evidence for your claim.
So do you think that the economy
What I think is not evidence for your claim.
Are you already
What I think is not evidence for your claim. Can you give me the evidence for your claim?
Are you already getting upset?
I just want the evidence for your claim.
Are you getting upset?
Nope, I
already?
just
'Cause I'm
want the
asking
evidence for
you-
your claim. You seem upset. Give me the evidence for your claim.
Right. You said that MAGA, what they're referring to make America great again,
Mhm.
was economy-wise.
So?
Technically, you're talking about economy-wise. So that's
No,
why
yeah, I
I'm
just told you what the slogan meant. What's the evidence for your claim of YT supremacy? That's what we're waiting for here patiently.
Okay. Apparently not patiently if you're raising your voice. I'm specifically asking you if you believe that the economy was great under Trump, yes or no?
Why does that have anything to do with your claim?
Yes or no?
What does it have to do with your claim before I answer the question?
Yes or no?
Had nothing to do with your claim.
Mitch, do you want to ask him? 'Cause I
Yeah,
don't
you know
know
what?
if he's
You
gonna
need someone to debate. Need someone to debate for you? Need someone to debate for you, do you?
So
Need someone to come in and help you out? Is it because you're a woman? Is it because you're a woman you can't debate? Is that why?
Andrew, wait, hey,
The misogyny is crazy.
It's not misogyny. I'm asking you a question.
That is misogyny. That is
Why?
misogyny.
What?
Andrew, how does everyone here know you?
I have no idea.
That was just straight up misogyny. I hope you know that.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Cry more. You sound upset.
I'm not crying.
I don't know.
where
You sound
got
upset.
that.
Can you debate or not? Can you give me the evidence of your claim?
I'm not upset.
You sound
I'm
upset.
I'm asking you a specific question.
Yeah, I know, but it has nothing to do with your
If you think
claim. You see the claim? Can you read the claim for me? Can you read?
Do I need to talk?
I just need you to read the claim.
Does the senile person
What's the
need
claim?
me to speak caveman to you?
Can you make the claim now? Can you
Does
give?
the senile person
Waiting
need
for
me to
evidence.
speak caveman?
Just waiting for the evidence. Go ahead.
Hey, does the senile person need me to speak caveman?
I need you to support your claim.
You brought up the economy, which is why I'm asking you that.
I didn't bring up the economy. You asked me what MAGA was a reference to. No, you asked me what MAGA was you asked me what MAGA was a reference to. Okay, fine. I'll just be muted.
Was the economy good under Trump? Yes or no?
Not evidence for your claim.
Hey, I want to change the topic very slightly.
I want her to give me the evidence of her claim of YT supremacy, the topic of the debate. That's what I want.
Yeah. So how about we do this? How about we do
You
this?
can't. You just say you don't have evidence.
Hey, listen. How about we do this? I'll give you evidence as to why my claim is my claim. If you could answer me, do you think that the economy was good under Trump?
Well, that's a loaded question. One, but two.
That's not a loaded
Well, I need to know
question.
what you
I
mean by
just gave
good.
you
What do
a
you mean by good?
proposal.
What do you mean by good?
I just gave you a proposal. Do
Mhm.
you think that the economy? Let's say
That's
the
not a
economy was
proposal.
better-
That's a question.
That's not a. Okay.
Yeah, that's a question.
It is a proposal. It is a proposal.
No, it's not a
'cause I'm
proposal.
telling you- Yes, it is.
No, it's a
'Cause
question.
I'm telling you.
It's a question.
Your question if you answer mine.
That's not
That-
a. Okay, so wait a second. What does anything that I think? No. Okay, the economy under Trump was bad. Now, can you provide evidence for the YT supremacy?
Thank you.
Can you
Okay,
provide evidence for
so-
it now?
Sure. So when we talk about YT supremacy, we could talk about the fact that Trump refused to rent to people of color, market their applications with C, which indicated color. The fact that he pulled out a full-page ad calling for the death of the Central Park 5 kids. The fact that he said about Kamala Harris that she must have changed to being Indian to black. And also, let's not forget the fact that he said this is America where we speak English and not Spanish. A very xenophobic remark. So yes, we could say YT supremacy right there because YT supremacy also ties with racism.
Yeah. Do you see in your proposition there it says plus MAGA? So this would be Trump plus MAGA equals YT supremacy. So hang on. Can I ask the question? I can't even ask the question. Okay.
I already know where you're going.
Yeah, you already know the question that I haven't asked yet. Okay.
We could talk about how MAGA as a group defends that they didn't see racism as a problem when they voted for him, and the fact that they think that Make America Great is going with Trump. The fact that Trump took MAGA from previous people and then took it for his own slogan.
Yeah, okay, so I'll address each one of these claims one at a time if you don't mute me. You don't want me to address the claims? Okay.
What happened? Go ahead.
Yeah, you have to stop muting me. You understand that, right? You
are
can't mute me while I'm trying to answer.
Are you crying?
No, it sounds like you're the one crying. Keep muting me.
You're crying because you're crying about the fact that
That you're muting me when you ask me a question. Yeah.
You could simply just answer it.
I was in the middle of it. I'll do it again. So
then
I'll
stop trying
take
and answer.
each claim one at a time. I know you have to mute opposition because you're a woman. That's your fault, though. So
then
anyway,
answer.
so very quickly on the Trump thing, each one of these claims down on the apartment nonsense. Right? This is highly contested.
Hey, Lily, let's address his.
Nope, absolutely not allowed to answer. Right? You're gonna cry. Oh, you're crying. You're crying. You're gonna cry about misogyny now.
Oh, because you already pointed out your own yeah, like.
But guys, I love you. I love you guys. I don't know why you keep muting me. I love you.
Why do you gotta keep bringing up the fact that I'm a woman though?
Well, why do you keep bringing up the fact that you mute people and then say they're crying, and then when I say anything about you being a woman, you cry.
Hey, Cerote. The fact that you brought up the fact you said, well, you're a woman, that's why you're muting me.
That has to be. That's the only logical explanation for why you're muting.
That's not
because you can't provide evidence for your claims.
There's men who also mute people in TikTok. So why
I believe it. Yeah. Do you have evidence?
Yeah.
What's your evidence for that claim?
He's not a woman.
What's your evidence for that claim?
He's not a woman.
Who?
Tomich.
Well, did you just assume his gender?
Tomich, are you a woman?
No.
Oh, I disagree. I think he is.
Oh. So
okay, then let's address that.
Okay, let's address it.
You're weird.
Hey, where do you get that from?
Just your voice. You sound like a female to me.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, don't cry, though.
Who's crying?
I don't know. He sounds like he's crying.
Us or the person who's complaining that he gets muted because he has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. And you know what?
Still crying. You're still crying.
Hey, no
one here is
still crying.
No one's crying but you.
I'll do what Biden did, taking our First Amendment right, and I'll do the exact Amendment right, and I'll do the exact same thing with you. And let me make something extremely clear. Let me make something extremely clear for your little buddies in the comments who are saying, W. Andrew. This is why women choose the bear over you. Yeah. This is why the women choose bears over you.
I like bears.
And this is why women say it's all men till it's no men. And look who wants to come up. It's Mom. Do we let her up?
No.
Yeah.
Actually, yes. I have a question.
Okay.
Wow, thanks for letting Andrew come up. He made some really.
They muted her.
Yeah, Mom, stop dick writing him. It's sad.
Explicit. If you're gonna ask me something explicit, can you at least ask?
You're dick writing him.
Can you please ask permission?
You're dick writing him.
That's explicit.
I don't give a fuck.
Well, yeah. Look,
Who
your name.
cares? We have a
It's
First
just
Amendment
silly
right.
69. Look at your name. You. 304.
I'm a 304. How am I a 304?
Your username has the number 69 in it.
Yeah, you don't know what my body count is. You really don't.
I'm sure it's high.
How high do you think it is?
Oh gosh.
No, let her answer. Let her make a
I would guess the hundreds.
You guess the hundreds?
I would guess hundreds.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
Well, you know what? I take that as a compliment. That just means I'm very objective to that. But I'll let you know something.
Who's the dick rider now?
I'll let you know something, Mom. I'm actually a virgin.
Holy shit!
Oh, yeah. And Trump won in 2020.
No, he didn't.
I thought he did.
Oh, sorry. I just thought we were stating things that aren't true.
I thought he did. In your part, he won.
Who's the dick rider now?
He won in 2020.
My heart, you're 304, so I don't understand.
Well, shit, I'll be a 304 in your heart all I want.
I'm sure you would.
I will.